Greetings, everyone, and good Monday to you all, whether it be morning, afternoon, evening, or night when you are. In my case, it's actually evening, but I'm having a great evening because I am joined by my very good friend, Cultured Casino. How's it going? Joined by my very good friend, Cultured Casino. And we have an echo.
I'm doing really well, yeah, and I thought I solved this problem.
And we have an echo.
I'm doing really well, yeah, and I thought I solved this problem.
And we have an echo.
I'm doing...
Yeah. What's Monday without starting with some tech issues? I always say. But yeah, I'm joined by Cultured Casino. I'm sure that Tom will be here eventually, and we'll see who else shows up. But Culture is here in the background, as you can see, and we have a pretty good crowd joining us. We have Stephanie Janishek's Smuggler's Cantina, who is actually showing up, saying, waving from the Great American Outdoor Show. Have fun, guys. I'm out. Oh, that's all right. You have to take care of business there. So that is brilliant. We have Jason Gray, who is saying cultured echo. And yeah, that I do think that echo was quite cultured. I would say so. Olaf from S is here, also pointing out that the 340 people in before stream started. Well, that's nice. We're 346 now. Oh, we just crossed 400. So that's awesome. Everyone, do as Mariella says and smash that like button. And please help share the stream because that would be most helpful. And Jacob says, oh crap, more Star Wars news with the Star Trek guys.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, that's a good time. But we won't just be talking about our good friend, and I use the term extremely lightly right now, Pablo Hidalgo. Although we'll get around to that, there's more stuff happening in popular culture. And Mad is here. You know who's a great replacement for Tom? That Mad Chismo guy. Culture, send him a link.
Absolutely. You got it.
Yeah. I mean, ask and you shall receive. I'm sure that Tom will be joining us before long here. But
all right.
And we also have Natasha, who also says the wise words, hit that like button if you have not yet. And that is exactly right. Do smash that like. Tom Haven says good afternoon to everyone. So yeah, good times. Culture, how are you?
Fantastic. It's been good. Now that I've eliminated the echo, I found it and killed it. But no, I've been doing great. Lots of amazing things happened over the course of the weekend. We were very busy with news at the end of the week, and lots of things happening around the globe. So, but no, I mean, we've got a few stories we can definitely get into today, and you know, we're going to bury the lead for a while, I'm sure, with the Star Wars story. So
yeah, that's how we do with so much else happening. Of course, we can only bring like one story up in the main thumbnail. There's only so much there's room for, but other things we'll be talking about today is Madam Web, who will be joining Sony's Spider-Man adjacent movies. And incredibly, Twitter aren't too thrilled about the casting. So we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking a little bit about Awkwafina, the star of Shang-Chi. Who is well, I don't know if she's spoken out of turn, but someone decided it's time to cancel her again. And then we'll see what else turns up over the course of the show, because that's like the fun thing with doing these morning shows. News tend to break while we are live. And before we begin, Deleted Scenes says, hail Midnight's Edge, mods, and chat. Yes, indeed. And hail to Deleted Scenes, our most welcome team player here. Grand Wazoo 42 has some comments about today's main topic. Please let it be true. Please let it be true. I do believe that if Pablo Hidalgo is indeed out, that would be a case of don't let the door hit you on the way out.
True.
Brightest Day says for $4.99 from Brightest Day to Edge of Midnight. So say we all. Green Lantern's light.
Wow, cool.
That was beautiful. That's quite the mashup right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good to see you, Zach. And we have, of course, maybe we have Mad Mardigan on the way. I don't know, but we do have the story here from Madam Web. If we want to get to that right off the bat.
Yeah, actually, before we get to that right off the bat, Hutch the Dirty Roofer wonders, anyone checked out Reacher yet?
Oh, I'm going to say
I haven't. Have you seen it?
I've watched the first half of the first of the first part. I have to say that it does look like it's going to be great. Hutch has been recommending it. Mad Mardigan has been recommending it. YetiCast has been recommending it. So I'm going to get hooked on this. I know for sure. A lot of great opinion makers out there are saying some very positive things about this show, so I'm very excited for it, no doubt.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I have to get caught up on Peacemaker first, and of course on the Book of Boba Fett, which is rapidly turning into the Book of the Mandalorian. So I have to get caught up on that. But once caught up with those two, then I'm really looking forward to Reacher myself. Like, I didn't check out the Tom Cruise movies in protest because Tom Cruise had no business ever being cast as Jack Reacher. But this I can't wait for. And Rave Girl says, looking forward to this live stream. Oh, thank you. Let's not disappoint you and get into the first story right off the bat.
Sounds great.
Namely, Madam Web.
That's right. Well, we've got, of course, we've got this Madam Web series here that's getting launched over, and that's the person they cast, the ever lovely Dakota Johnson. She's a pretty decent actress in my opinion, but they cast her in this spinoff for Spider-Man. She's going to be playing the title character of wow, this keeps scrolling really fast, of Madam Web. And the character S.J. Clarkson is set to direct the feature, which is part of Sony's growing stable of films based on the Marvel characters. They introduced this character originally in 1980s. Spider-Man number 210. Madam Web is a clairvoyant mutant who specializes in predicting the future of spider-themed heroes, having mentored not only Peter Parker's alter ego. This keeps jumping. That's terrible. But also multiple generations of heroes calling themselves Spider-Woman. Traditionally depicted as a blind, paralyzed old woman, she is surrounded by a web-like machine necessary to keep her alive, meaning that she stays away from direct conflict and rather sends others on missions. Matt Sazama and Burke Sharpless, who are behind the fellow Spider-Man spinoff Morbius, are the people who penned the script. And of course, if you want to see you want to see more of Dakota Johnson, and I mean it more in the biblical sense, you can see the 3 films she did for 50 Shades of Grey, and more recently, Cha-Cha Real Smooth. So there's that. But this is not without problems because people are upset that she was cast. And here is the hubbub.
Yeah.
She is currently under assault, under attack, because people are unhappy with her being Madam Web. And the reason why? She's not blind, as the character is depicted.
Yeah, she's not old and she's not blind. And there are many who are pointing that out in the comments as well. I mean, Das Wolfen is just one example, saying Madame Web is supposed to be a geriatric, but so was Aunt May, and no one complained about who we got for obvious reasons. And I would imagine that probably they were going for something like that here as well. And it wouldn't be the first time. I mean, although the movie never happened, those that are familiar with Agatha Christie will remember the shock and horror when Jennifer Garner was cast as Miss Marple.
Yeah, I don't recall that at all. Of course, I probably wasn't paying attention.
It was announced, but it never happened.
Oh,
and it was like, and this was probably like some fake rumors, but someone even said that it was going to lead up to a Poirot spin-off with Vin Diesel as Poirot.
Wow. This is something I wouldn't think anybody would care at all about, but the response here is pretty telling. I mean, you have Andre is a 46 mother flipping years old. I guess that's the name of this person here. Says, hell
I'm
no.
glad that you chose that particular guy
It
as an
it's in the
example.
article. It wasn't me, Andre.
Well, fine. It's fun that the article chose that, but yeah.
It was magical.
For those, I just want to point out, Andre is a common name. So
it
yeah,
is. Yeah,
I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Not this Andre. Not this Andre. Yeah, because they handles tripping crutch, which I don't think you would have. But hell nah, disabled actresses exist. Madam Web is canonically blind character with myasthenia gravis. Disabled mimicry is so annoying. Dakota Johnson is entering the Spider-Verse, set to play Madam Web, obviously, is the thing he's reacting to. So, and he's not the only one that had some negative response here. Evander Rush, who said, no love for old actresses anymore, which is not true, by the way. They younged down Aunt May, and while I know how there are younger versions of this character, it takes away opportunities for older women in the acting business. Carrie Fisher had to deal with this before the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Did she?
I guess. Yeah, because she didn't get too many other roles, did she? Because I can kind of see this point, because this is true both for actors and actresses, that they're really hot a few years and they really have to work at maximizing their careers in those years, because at some point, no matter how hot they may be, they're going to age out of the role, and it's like you're out, not just the role but any role. There are simply fewer roles for older talent. This is a sad fact of life. Not saying it's a good thing. So I kind of see the concern, why they would be protesting, because in a sense, yeah, that would be. They could have given it to someone older, and you were saying, Culture, that they actually were considering someone older. Of course, this person probably might be offended if you were to cast her as Madam Web. But before that, we have someone else in the wings. Welcome, Mads. Or as I say, asking you shall receive. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going? I was not ready for that invite. I had to run around to get ready for that. But no, thanks for inviting me though. And
You bet.
boy, I have a comment about this whole blind thing.
Go for it.
You know, it's really difficult for blind people fighting. What with their lack of vision? Like, I mean, if there's any stunts to be done, you would have to bring someone in who's not blind.
Are you saying that Satoichi is fiction?
That what?
Satoichi, the blind swordsman.
Oh, I don't know that one. I know
Oh, you've been
Blind
missing
Fury
out.
From back in the 80s.
Yeah, that is the American remake of Satoichi.
Oh wow, see, I nailed it. I knew that was
yeah.
But yeah, this is crazy. What are these people talking about? You can't have a blind person running around the set trying to fight.
Well, in the comics, though, she's not running around. Like, she's confined to this chair, hooked up to this machine. That's probably what these people would have wanted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Interesting. Like, I mean, was that the original version? I don't know much about Spider.
Madam Web.
Madam Web. Like,
but I know someone else though, as Marty Dog points out there. I was just thinking this, Matt Murdock. Yeah. There you have your blind guy who's running around fighting.
Yeah, I know exactly, and the guy is not actually blind. It's just I was reading an article about I guess it's waifu, right? And you know, because there's a lot of complaints going on about who made the game there. And reading the article, they're like, but they did bring in all these different teams at every level as like advisors so that they do get it right. But none of that matters because they didn't specifically have, you know, these people working on the game directly. And it was like, I don't understand. Like, rather than just making sure that the right person is playing the right role, isn't the important thing that the role is correct or the role is accurate?
You'd think so, but again, it depends entirely on what they are doing with it. I mean, look for instance at Peacemaker, which is my favorite series going right now. If you go and look at the original batch of Peacemaker comics, who they've got playing the role and how it's portrayed is completely dead wrong and way off. Like the only thing they got right is the name and the costume, but still, given the direction that was taken, then of course it's perfect. And to me, that is like the obvious thing here. They are using the comic book source material as an inspiration, but they're not just staying too literally to it. So here, Madam Web evidently is a young woman, or as I saw someone point out here, let's see, it was someone who pointed out that she's 32, and for Hollywood, that's an old hag already. I can't find the comment, but I guess there's like some truth to that. So yeah, culture. What's your thing? Is Dakota Johnson too young to star as Madam Web? Period.
Well, again, I mean, you have to remember that you had the original couple of casting leaks that came out here were, Charlize Theron, who immediately said no, thank you, publicly, and then you had before, just after that, just before Dakota was announced, you had Sandra Bullock, who's much older, who was supposed to be cast in this role. In fact, that rumor was very persistent for a while until recently, when Sandra came out and essentially said that she will not be in it at all. So, but it was interesting. There's a lot of stories out there talking about how she shot it down. But I think she would have been great in the character. But she's just to point out all the garbage that goes along with this, she's also not blind.
Oh man, so close.
This is a huge issue for many, I know.
Yeah. Which makes no sense. Of course, she wore, if you remember, in Bird Box, she wore a blindfold for basically the whole movie. So, yeah, isn't that kind of blind adjacent?
Yeah.
Blind adjacent.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that was too far, but
yeah. I just want to highlight a super chat right away because I think it's on point. We have some more super chats that we haven't caught up, so we'll get to them all. But I just wanted to highlight this one right away because it makes a really good point. Christian Coralejo says for $2, maybe it's an origin story, hence the young actress. Yeah. And yeah, this could be. Maybe Madam Web is both young and sighted in this movie. Then it wouldn't make much sense to have a blind actress.
I mean, that's quite possible. Like I said, they may be trying to craft new lore around the character. And you know what? Good on them, because at least they're reaching back to original characters like Madam Web and things like that. Again, I mean, the first time we saw Madam Web was back in 1980. So, and it would help with, like, explaining the spider sense that all of the Spider-Men feel in the various multiverse.
But
right?
I mean, wouldn't spiders explain the spider sense?
Well, that too, but I mean, essentially, this character exists to essentially outline, what's happening all around, and essentially send various people of the quote unquote Spider-Verse on missions and things. And Sony's going to dive deeply into this because it's been a very successful franchise, especially of late. Right now, the Spider-Man No Way Home film, $1 million shy of Avatar's domestic box office.
How insane is that?
Yeah.
Who would have seen that coming?
If I had 2 million, I would give them $1,001,000 just to beat that film. I'm so tired of hearing about Avatar.
Really? When's the last time you heard about it? Because that's a movie that has left no cultural fingerprint whatsoever.
I think his print is more of like, how did this movie make all that money, and why is he making 5 movies 20 years later? I think that's more of what it's known for now than anything about the actual movie. But
Disney put a lot of money into James Cameron. I mean, with his Lightstorm Entertainment and his business partner are deeply entrenched in everything Disney's doing, especially after their acquisition of Fox. But they were already kind of negotiating making more Avatar films with him because of their interest in the property. I mean, they utilized it in one of their theme parks in the Animal Kingdom in Walt Disney World, Florida. But no, you're not wrong, Matt. I agree with you. The cultural relevance of Avatar faded within a couple of years of its release. So.
And it evaporated into absolute nothingness. But anyway, that was like a sidetrack. Back to the main track here. Yeah, you know what? I'm actually excited about this Madam Web project. I wouldn't think that would ever happen, but just they've been firing on so many cylinders as of late that I'm more excited about many of the Sony spin-off projects, more so than the proper MCU ones. Venom, Let There Be Carnage was something of a disappointment, but I'm honestly more excited for this than almost everything from the MCU, with the exception of Doctor Strange.
Yeah. It's I think that, well, I think you and I are both going to be disappointed with Doctor Strange, Andre, but but you're right. I mean, and to be fair, Spider-Man has always been Marvel's biggest property, always. And I mean, he was it was the face in the corner of the comic book forever. Still is, or still used to be anyway. I'm not sure. I haven't bought a book in a long time, at least not from the mainstream, but that was the logo on the Marvel Comics was the mask of Spider-Man, right where the price was. And it's one of those things where Sony has the best of it, and they have the best of it for as long as they want it, which is also a unique situation. So, the fact that they're in partnership with Marvel, but still, making their own kind of a universe, I think that's very exciting. And this kind of project is going to lend itself to more and more similar. And we will get a full-fledged Spider-Verse. I mean, we already know that. So.
I hope that Marvel sees what happened with the Spider-Man movie and what, maybe we should, rethink a couple of things. Maybe we should workshop this a little bit more and see if we can make some of that big money, because when the Book of Boba Fett came out, I asked my girlfriend, I'm like, hey, do you want to come watch it? She goes, was it made by Sony? No. She's like, no, then. She has so little faith in Disney as a whole in their properties that they're making that she didn't want to come out and give it a chance. I made her, because I'm not watching that by myself. It's horrible. But
well, that's a huge cap in the hat for Sony if they've gotten that kind of a boost. But they obviously have. Over all of this, because I'm certainly excited. But how excited are you guys? Let's know in the comments. Who else is excited for Madam Web? Even though Madam Web is a young woman by any standard other than Hollywood's, and well, we don't know if it's going to be a prequel story or not, but the actress is certainly not blind.
Right.
And how offended are you by that?
Just a few more of these comments. It's kind of funny. I mean, again, in that same vein, I mean, Andrew Rush here says again, not to mention the fact that Madam Web is blind, at least the older adaptation. Don't know if she's blind in the younger adaptation, and this takes away a blind actor's role in these films too. I'm not sure you have a blind actor of note that would be able to do this role. Maybe you do. I'm unfamiliar. They're not. I don't know how many that are notable that you would know that would fill out this role.
Blind actresses?
Yeah.
I'm sure there must be some, but top of my head, none.
Yeah. Tyler Nakata said, Sony Pictures, no, absolutely not. She should be old, and you might also want to consider somebody who's actually blind.
Do they think it's just there's an assembly line where you can find the people with the appropriate parts and features for this?
That's what representation is all about. That you already have everyone just waiting for the opportunity, right. And I'm sure that that there are great blind actors and actresses out there. So it may be a fair point, but I'm inclined to believe, although I have nothing on which to base it beyond her casting, that when this movie begins, she won't be old and she won't be blind. I mean, for all we know, this could be a prequel set 30 years ago, and then we'll fast forward to a modern day older blind Madam Web, but still they'd need her for that prequel.
Yeah, and somebody should let them know. I think somebody in the chat said that Charlie Cox isn't blind either.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but like just not everything can be, you know, transmitted onto film from a comic book. Like not all of it works in an entirely different medium, an entirely different like presentation. You know, just because it worked in the comic doesn't mean it's gonna work in the movie. And it's I think like with Logan being played by Hugh Grant and the way he not Hugh Grant. What's this one though?
Jackman.
Jackman. Yes, Hugh Jackman. They're both foreign. I mean, it's the same thing. But they both have accents. So no, but like I thought that he got the spirit of Logan. But even though he wasn't, the height of Danny DeVito, like if you wanted like, comic accurate, well, Danny DeVito was a better choice than Hugh Jackman. But would that work on film? No, of course not. Come on.
You're insane.
I would like to see a Hugh Grant Wolverine one day, though.
That doesn't sound good. You're insane.
Like a very proper British Wolverine.
Hey, look, there he is. There's a Charlie Cox who is not blind. So, yeah, this original story that we're looking at on Yahoo, it actually came from BuzzFeed. So, which, how reputable they are. But I don't know. To me, this doesn't bother me. And I don't think that it should bother anyone. But it doesn't seem to me that it matters very much. Whether or not an actor is blind or not, they're actually legitimately acting, and that's the only requirement that you have is you have the chops to do it. You have the merit to carry it off, and if you happen to be blind, great. And again, if they're adapting a younger character, that's great. I would like to see a progression of things. That's something that we almost always usually enjoy. You start at the beginning of something and move forward. And then that way you establish a canon, and you establish along the way the character. The character needs to be fleshed out over time, not just immediately introduced as something. It's really hard to catch a lot of heat if that's what you're doing. And this is a spinoff. So my thoughts are this character's key and needs to be developed over time. Can't be something right out the gate. Because that's literally what this is.
Mark Hamill's not missing a hand. I see that in the chat. That's a good one.
They didn't cut his hand off in the movie?
No, there's special effects, by the way, on that. Yeah.
And really, really bad special effects at that.
But they were good enough.
No, they weren't.
I thought his hand got cut off.
Oh, yeah. The great and powerful Oz has arrived.
Who?
This man.
This great and powerful Wizard of Oz. And to answer Hamdinger's question, here's Tom.
That's right.
How's it going, Tom? Good morning.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, it was for me.
Myself.
If it's still morning, sure.
For about another 15 minutes, yeah.
There you go. Well, we've got other stuff that has been happening around the world. I'm not sure how much farther we want to take the Spider-Verse here.
Yeah, no, I think that we'll look what some of you guys have to say in the super chats before we move on to the next topic.
Sounds good.
And now I'm not doing every single super chat. We'll save some till we get to the relevant topics. But Dash Attack says on this one, 90s Spider-Man Madam Web is spooky. I like spooky. And Dash Attack also says, at what point does Twitter get too woke for Hollywood that they tell them to screw off? Well, evidently not yet. It's going to take a little bit more, I would imagine. And Gundam Warrior 1 says for $5, Lin Shaye from the Insidious series would have been perfect for Madam Web. Insidious is a franchise being carried by a 78-year-old woman.
Wow,
You know
that's
what?
awesome.
You're absolutely right. Lynn Shay, she's amazing no matter what, and she would indeed have been perfect for this.
Well, what's her eyesight like?
Oh boy.
Well, probably too good for this.
Mm.
but yeah, she would have been pretty awesome. And Akunin 1876 says for two Bulgarian, 50 Shades of Web, adult parody coming out soon. So yeah.
Oh man, I'm not on here nearly enough to make the jokes I have in my head about that.
Going back to that last one, did you just bring up Lynn Shay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you bring up Lynn Shay and not bring up the fact that we have an interview with her brother on the channel?
Because I was in SuperChats, but yeah, this is actually true. I mean, not enough people have seen that interview with Bob Shea, founder of New Line Cinema, and the reason why we have Freddy Krueger, the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles on film, The Mask with Jim Carrey, and so many other things. So yeah, Lord of the Rings. To say nothing of the Lord of the Rings.
True.
So everyone go and check out that interview, the first one in the Star Interviews playlist.
Blade.
Of course,
Blade
yeah.
is so good.
He mentioned it. He didn't really talk too much about it, but yeah, that was one that he was excited and proud of.
Blade is so good.
And Vincenzo Beretta says for €5, the Twitterati are all gangsta when they ask for something, but they are unable to provide answers. No, what about actor Ever XY in these requests?
Kind of like that whole Brie Larson thing, right? Like when she was out there talking about it and everybody's like, yeah, so then why don't you give up the role of Captain Marvel to a woman of color? And then she kind of shut up real quick.
Yeah, and then you have virtue signaling coat wearing on the red carpet by a particular female actress who has a production company that didn't have one female director or producer other than herself and her.
Oh, you're talking about Padme. What's her name?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
It was the sentiment culture. That's what you're missing. This is the message behind the message.
Oh, I see.
I was actually thinking about that earlier today about how like it's never because I was reading an article about how the Old Republic is doing Star Wars the right way. I'm saving it for you, culture, for Wednesday. But basically it's always like, no, don't look at the story and the characters, but like the message behind what they're saying, not how it's done or what you see on screen.
Or if it's good.
Yeah. You got to look at the underlying message,
Oh,
so
my goodness.
yeah, I think it's like kind of the same thing.
You're trying to make the vein in my forehead blow up, aren't you?
I found a couple good ones for you.
Oh man, great.
And also on related super chats, Mr. Poe says, "Would Madam Web stunt woman need to be blind too?"
Wow.
Well, it depends on the stunts.
Honestly, I don't think there's a whole lot of actresses that are going to fit this bill. At least not working ones, anyway.
Well, exactly. Here's the thing, though. I still think that, and I have nothing to base it on, but I would imagine that this is a prequel, and she's young, and she's sighted as the movie begins. And that's then the interpretation of the character, and then we have to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least for the time being, is what I would say to that.
Well, and I think, like I said, I mean, Dakota Johnson, a lot of people here have mentioned they don't really appreciate her acting. I think she's fine.
I think so too. Anything I've seen her in.
I think she's the Liv Tyler of her era, right?
Oh, I don't care for that. I can't even think of anything I've ever seen her in, but Liv Tyler, come on. Who's better at crying through a monitor when someone's going to die? Armageddon.
Yeah, like I said, I think she's the Liv Tyler of this particular era, and I think she'll do a fine job. And again, I think it's an origin story. It has to be. If you're spinning off an unknown character into something of their own, it has to be a sort of an origin. You're going to have to build this character up. So that's why I'm like, yeah, maybe it makes sense to have them be younger.
Yeah. So I shall be very happy to reserve judgment for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually excited. Tom, what about you? We haven't heard your take on this so far. How excited are you for Dakota Johnson as Madam Web?
He had to step away for a moment. It looks.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Oh, his timing was just seconds before you asked him.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
But with that, let's move on while we're on like the Twitter rampages and stuff. Let's move into the next one, which would be Awkwafina.
That's right.
You got the story culture.
You betcha. And again, this is from Deadline. It happened in the evening yesterday. The Twitterati got extra fluffy about Awkwafina. And she essentially goes out there and addresses her black scent and the AAVE criticism. And she leaves Twitter. She got canceled by the mob, or she canceled herself because of the mob. Depends on how you want to look at it. But from the story, and this is from Deadline, Awkwafina is leaving Twitter for now. The actress, whose real name is Nora Lum, tweeted a statement that I don't know why you added release. Anyway, earlier today, addressing the criticism for her use of African American vernacular English. She starts the apology by stating, "There is a socio-political context to everything, especially the historical context of the African American community in this country." Awkwafina, who started off as a rapper and comedian who became a household name after her performance in the critically acclaimed Crazy Rich Asians and the heist film Ocean's 8. Like 10 people saw that, but
that made me laugh because hearing you read it.
However, some viewers of the film were perturbed by her performance, which relied heavily on AAVE and said appropriation is tantamount to mockery. And I don't think that's true.
That's not true.
Yeah, because again, I mean, a lot of people imitate others. It doesn't matter. Anyway, in response to this, writer Bettina Makalintal for Vice mentioned why Awkwafina's character in the film should be considered problematic, as she borrowed from black culture in order to make a name for herself. The woman born Nora Lum performed a series of racial stereotypes for coolness and clout, and through that posturing, she made her way from viral internet rapper to critically acclaimed actress. As time passed and Awkwafina's shot to superstardom, many have noticed that the persona has disappeared, but also there are still questions as to why that was necessary in the first place. Starring in Dustin Daniel Cretton's Shang-Chi, the actress was asked about her past behavior while on the film's press tour. She didn't give a full answer, but remained diplomatic by saying, "I'm open to the conversation," she said. "I think it's really something that I think is a bit multifaceted and layered." Fast forward to today, Awkwafina tweets this, and these are the tweets. I'm not capable of looking at them individually right now, but I'll mention this. Toward the end of her statement, she mentions, "I must emphasize, to mock, belittle, or be unkind in any possible way at the expense of others is simply not my nature. It never has, and it never was." Social media didn't take kindly to her response, and as a result of the backlash, Awkwafina commented she was retiring from Twitter at her therapist's instruction, but will be available on all other platforms. Wow.
Why does she have a therapist?
Don't know, because she's being attacked. She has to be a victim. So probably would be my guess, but we'll keep going. To clarify, I am retiring from the ingrown toenail that is Twitter. Not retiring from anything else, even if I wanted to, and I didn't drunkenly hit someone with a shoehorn and now escaping as a fugitive. Also, am available on all other socials that don't tell you to delete yourself.
Huh.
Well, that doesn't sound like too bad of an apology.
Yeah, in this tweet that was yesterday morning, or the morning of the 5th, I should say. "Well, I'll see you in a few years, Twitter. Per my therapist. To my fans, thank you for continuing to love and support someone who wishes they could be a better person for you. I apologize if I ever fell short in anything I did. You were always in my heart." Aw.
Well, so she's not really apologizing per se. She's saying, "Screw you guys, I'm going home," right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I don't know what the original statement said. That was her response to the criticism of the statement she did on
Yeah,
the black tint.
the problem is if I pull it up, there's going to be a billion DMs and stuff that'll pop onto the screens.
Yes, never mind that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we get the gist of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, gentlemen, what do we say of this? Was it right that Awkwafina left Twitter in response to her horrendous crime, and should she be cancelled for it?
You know, just a quick response here. I'm not sure that she had anything to apologize for. A lot of people have created personas that allowed them to rise to fame. Or multiple personas. I mean, this brings to light, Carol Burnett, Tim Conway, even the great Jackie Gleason. In modern times, you have Larry the Cable Guy, who, if you've ever actually heard him speak, he sounds nothing like that person that he plays. That's a persona. So you can always take on an affectation. Right. And we've been doing it forever. I mean, Flip Wilson used to do it all the time. We can go back and it crosses generations, racial lines, the whole 9 yards. So again, this is listening to this minutia, this infinitesimally small group of humans, to decide the path of your career or whatever. That's, you're being put in a position of, emotional blackmail, every single time you show any weakness when you're confronted by the mob, this tiny little group of people. But I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, that's kind of like, Matt's go on.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, Culture, you stole my Larry the Cable Guy thing. I was going to talk about him as well. But it's weird because, like, no one ever, is like, everyone still loves Tupac, but no one ever brings up he was a ballet dancer. Like,
right.
That whole thing of him, even back in Digital Underground, that was all just a persona, right? And it's just weird because they're not Awkwafina, but there are people who will grow up in a culture that may not fit what you perceive that their culture should be like, and they have far more claim to that culture than someone who happens to match what the physical makeup at that group, even though they are not a part, they never grew up in the culture. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, is just this idea of like having everything match up according to the preconceived notions of what this should be is absurd and limiting. Like, you limit yourself, you limit the creativity through all of this. It's the same with the way they do movies, with all the representation and their messages. It's there's just this force hanging over them, controlling what the story can be.
But you're a product of your environment, right, Mags?
Yeah.
I mean, you have your vernacular comes from, where you're brought up.
Exactly.
You are you going to attack the white actor in the show Power because he uses a quote unquote black scent and speaks in AAVE, right?
I've never watched Power.
Oh wow, it's great. It's the first couple seasons are incredible, but it's the same thing. I mean, you're going to have this. You're a product of your environment. You're not actually allowing people to to be that. You're also not allowing them any type of artistic expression if you're limiting them by these, who knows from day to day what factors.
Again, I don't know much about Awkwafina. Like, I never knew she existed, and I only could get through the first 20 minutes of the Chung-Chi,
the Power Bracelets movie.
Yeah. Oh man, anyway, but
basically you got through the good part, and then you missed out on everything else because it was
did
all
I get through the good part?
Yeah, I mean, you got the best part, which was the intro with rebooted Fu Manchu. That was the best part.
That's true.
Yeah,
you got through that.
Culture. You saw the movie. I'm sure you agree with my assessment of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they stole from 8 better films in the first 25 minutes of the film. So, you got the best part of it, or you got some of the good parts from other films is what you were watching. So yeah, you did. And Andre's 100% right. So congratulations, Matt. You saw the best elements of the film.
Yeah. Exactly.
Man, I heard there was a chicken without a head or something, a dragon.
Rabbit chicken taco.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I may fast forward through, but
yeah, that was another highlight, but it was kind of freaky. And like, just put it this way: before Mike, the Mexican Iron Man, forever dubbed it rabbit chicken, I called it headless snarf. To me, it looked like, snarf.
It does.
If someone went and they chopped his head off, and he still healed up and kept walking around. That's kind of what I saw there.
Yeah, I feel like you said, I mean, I feel like Mike, you're right. Mexican Iron Man did name appropriately what the thing was, and now wherever we will have rabbit chicken tacos available.
Exactly. I can't wait to like it. It's like that and porks, like they're so succulent.
Yeah. If you season them properly, it's true.
Yeah, that's it's all in the seasoning, all in the garniture. But yeah, as for her leaving Twitter, I'm just going to bring the super chat up. Hunch the Dirty Roofer says for $5, going to ask my bookie to put odds on when she comes back. My bet is 4 weeks. Now, who wants to take that bet? How long do you think that Awkwafina is going to stay off Twitter? She's already gotten her headline now, so now she can come back anytime.
Yeah, I would take the over on that. Over on 4 weeks.
I don't know. I think if it's an over/under bet, I'm not sure. 4 weeks sounds about right for these little Twitter tantrums is what I call them. And then you're going to spin something else out of it. I don't know.
I would have to see her schedule. Like, does he have any projects coming up that she needs to promote? Or
yeah, it's a good question actually. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, I mean, every time somebody does this, it's not for that long of time. That long. They aren't absent that long. They come right back. I mean, look at oh gosh, what was that chick's name? She married John Legend, and she's just generally annoying.
I don't
know. There's so many of them. I mean, this doesn't really limit it, but given that I don't know who John Legend is married to.
Chrissy Teigen.
Oh,
she was,
her.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
John Legend is the one that fixed what's that Christmas song? It's cold outside. Baby, it's cold outside. Yeah, he fixed it, so it's acceptable under today's standards.
Yeah, and Valiant Renegade just slapped a super chat in here that's incredibly relevant.
Yeah, he says, so another Asian American actress leaves Twitter from media pressure, just like Kelly Marie Tran. No, that's actually a really, really valid point, Valiant. It absolutely is. Good observation there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same though, because she was pressured by the left, not the right.
Well, so was they both weren't they?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is the same.
What, from the left?
Yeah,
because like, oh, I thought it was the alt-right and the Gamergate and
no, they were the ones that were blamed for it.
Yes, they weren't the ones who booted her off.
Sorry,
but they weren't.
That's
the ones
what
that
I meant.
Did it?
I meant the narrative of why she left, not the actual reason. Because like,
yeah, this is true. This is true. The narrative is different,
right,
but the actual reason is very much the same.
Exactly.
We have another one that just came in. I like I said, I think she'll be back. I think Mad's right. And again, maybe that's the cynicism of the now, right? For those of us who observe this thing in real time, that if she has something to promote here shortly, she'll be right back,
Yeah, and STR Red Wolf says, Awkwafina leaving Twitter only to come back 4 weeks later. Jeez, is this person is this person a furry? Sounds like what happens in my community. Huh? I never connected with the Red Wolf. Of course, so that explains everything.
Wow.
But yeah, no, that's cool. That's more power to you. And D. Bud Martin also makes a really good point there. Asians aren't ranked high in the oppression Olympics. Yeah, no, that's the issue.
They've been losing ground. I mean, so much so that they're actually being banned from certain educational institutions or from any kind of favorite treatment. This is insane.
Because they're white now.
Yeah.
I think they're a minority of necessity. Like if they need them to be minorities to attack someone, then they're going to be minorities again, right?
Yeah.
But if not, if we're talking like statistics or whatever, they're like, we're talking about minorities other than Asian, which is listed in some things from college that I've seen. Yeah, I think they're just minorities of opportunity. Like when they can be used to advance the overall goal, then they will be.
Sorry, I'm just watching the chat, and you're 100% spot on. I mean, you truly are, man. It seems to be, a convenience. If it's convenient, right. Yes. If it's not, no.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, that's how you maintain your ethics and your values is having it fluctuate depending on need.
Oh my.
And Edian Falardo wants us all to ask ourselves, who is scared of Asian woman? Well, that depends on the individual, but it would appear that many on Twitter certainly are.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some now that scare me.
Well, there's no. I think it was more the making the statement without requiring any actual examples there. So yeah, I don't know how much more there is to say on this particular topic. Any closing remarks, Cultured?
No, I just, like I said, I just feel bad because, again, I mean, you're now retroactively going after people for, carefully crafting a persona that put them in a position of I guess, fame. I don't know how to describe it. I mean, to me, she's, middling actress, but she has had good performances. Somebody in the chat brought up, that she was very good. I think it was Captain Robert April, that she was very good in Crazy Rich Asians. Wow, I can't talk today. But again, I mean, she gives a rather flat performance than anything else I've ever seen, much like her stand-up act. But I just I don't know. I just we've reached a point in time when you can be retroactively canceled. I mean, you don't even have to be alive to get canceled, and I just think that's ridiculous. I find that ridiculous.
I don't know what Awkwafina means. Like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody explain what that, because every time I hear Awkwafina, I immediately think of water. I think that's when they said like she's a household name. I think it's just because people mix her up with the water. The Awkwafina water. I have no idea what that name means. It's confusing.
I don't know either, but it's interesting.
Is it?
Sure. I mean, water's pretty plain, bland,
Oh, something else pretty plain and bland is this topic that I think we've beat it to death now. Yeah. And so Cultured, what else is on your radar?
Well, this morning, just a few moments ago, we were alerted to a suit that's being filed against Warner Brothers. You have, of course, Warner Bros. Being slapped by Village Roadshow suit over Matrix and more going to streaming. So it looks like people are frustrated with what's happening with the day and date release and or the straight to streaming releases that Warner was using to get their streaming platform built. Warner Brothers, which managed to evade litigation in 2021 despite a hail of protests over parent Warner Media's aggressive tactics with streaming service HBO Max, has been hit with a lawsuit by key supplier Village Roadshow. The production entity sued the studios in Los Angeles Superior Court today, alleging breach of contract. The Matrix Resurrections came out in December and has limped towards the $200 million mark at the worldwide box office. Village Roadshow contends that Warner Media hobbled the film's commercial prospects by favoring streaming. Legendary Entertainment likewise made rumblings last year about Dune and Godzilla vs. Kong, as did many other filmmakers and production partners behind 2021 releases. Ultimately, none brought a legal claim, in part because the company spend in the range of $200 million to compensate dozens of partners for foregone box office.
Whoa! Who's suing Warner? Back it up. Sorry, I'm back.
Village Roadshow.
Can I do it?
Yes.
Yes, go for it. You deserve it.
I fucking told you, motherfuckers.
You can do it.
Where's the button?
Play the clip.
I fucking knew it. Oh!
I knew it as soon as I heard that Godzilla was going over to freaking Apple. Anyway, I'm sorry, Culture.
No, you're 100% right. And I'm glad you were back, and I'm glad you were able to burst in at the appropriate moment, because that's one of my favorite clips that we have here. But yeah, so with COVID, with the global crisis, altering the landscape and shuttering theaters for months in 2020, media companies already engaged in a battle to close the gap with Netflix made a number of dramatic moves, of course. While other companies proceeded in more of a case-by-case fashion, Warner Brothers embarked on what is known internally as Project Popcorn in an effort to put all 17 of its 2021 releases on HBO Max at the same time they hit theaters. The move, unveiled at the tail end of 2020, was decried by filmmakers like Christopher Nolan, major agency chiefs, and others. Soon, though, the uproar died down, and the company has indicated it will make decisions on individual releases rather than the entire slate in 2022. So there you go. But this, I don't think this is over. I think you're going to see other project partners and maybe, other distributors, after them for this.
Legendary is going to be pissed.
Well, yeah. Once they see this thing moving forward.
Oh, they're going after. I'm not surprised Legendary isn't the ones doing this, to be honest with you, but yeah.
Well, they were pretty decently compensated. And again, they alluded to the $200+ million, and we know it's more than that now, that they coughed up to these, these productions to compensate them for a lack of a box office revenue stream. So I don't know.
Well, in Matrix, that was a flop Warner didn't need.
Yeah, well, that was a trash bag they got forced into, obviously.
Who got forced into it? What?
I don't believe Tom, and correct me if I'm wrong. It doesn't seem like they wanted to make another Matrix film, but
actually, that scene in the movie where they're like, "We're going to make it with or without you," is like literally what Wachowski told the press.
Yep.
I just love it when filmmakers do that, when they put like some reality into the movie, like how the one Wachowski sibling put in that scene. Is like the same thing that Joss Whedon did with his Justice League, where he put in a stand-in for himself, and that homeless beggar who sat there with the sign saying, "I tried." That was his message to the audience.
That's awesome.
Wow. But this, like I said, I mean, now is this going to put other streaming services on notice that when they do this, they might be subjecting themselves to litigation?
Well, I mean, this is a unique situation. I get that. But yeah.
Evidently, yeah. So, like, Peacock, take heed. And Paramount Plus as well. If you want to do something to salvage your failing services, don't do what HBO Max did. Although it might work, it's going to be a price to pay, and a big one.
This is probably going to be like all of this is going to be coming up in the contracts from now on, right? Like,
I'm sure contracts will be much different from here on out, for sure.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Because let's be real, a lot of this was sparked by the whole Scarlett Johansson thing to begin with, and that's why I feel like we would have had a lot more lawsuits had that actually gone anywhere. Right, like that's where I feel like things kind of hit us, because like I think a lot of people were waiting to see how that was going to turn out.
Well, I think that you're going to see volleys from actors and actresses and studios going forward. I think that you're going to see a lot more of that, because again, without them willingly walking into a streaming service for the purpose of doing a for streaming product, let's say Chris Hemsworth or somebody like that, I think they're going to feel like they're being, classed differently. Because, I still think a lot of actors and actresses think that streaming or television work is beneath them. I mean, I don't think that stigma in their minds has gone away. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't want to guess at what they're thinking, but like I think that as time has gone through, like you've seen a lot more prominent like stars, taking risk, like being in streaming only television series or movies. Like you said, you mentioned Thor was in that amazing Extraction movie.
And they're
Jeremy
making
Renner.
They're making a second one.
Oh yeah. They were talking about doing a whole cinematic universe with different, I don't know. But then Jeremy Renner, he had Mayor of Kingstown, was awesome. Loved the first season on Paramount Plus. So I think people are coming around to it.
Do you think that Scorsese's release helped move that forward?
I don't know. Man, that thing was long. It was. I don't know. Maybe seeing people at his caliber, but then again, like I don't know.
Well, I think Scorsese knows that we're in a different world. And he knows that if he tried to do something like The Irishman for theaters, he would get stuck doing a 2-hour cut.
Yeah.
And I think he's embracing the idea that his type of movies have now found a home. Right. And through all the other means that they made that movie through, they were actually to basically amortize the cost of it. And I think that that's the future for a lot of these filmmakers. And I think some of them are going to be more than happy to do that. Some, like Nolan, on the other hand, are not. Right. Like Scorsese is one of those to where, yeah, he's a true filmmaker, but there's an argument to be made that, like, yeah, his movies aren't necessarily big screen fare. That's every time, right? Like you can watch something like The Irishman at home and probably get just as much out of it as you would at theater.
Absolutely. I mean, when you
It's
look at the
Dune,
runtime, you might
yeah.
even get more out of it watching it in the comfort of your own home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Dune where it's all about the theatrical experience. I mean, people have been experiencing Taxi Driver and Raging Bull for the last 40 years on their television screens.
Yeah.
And it's plenty of people are still fans.
Well,
so, I mean, those kind of movies and filmmakers,
also, that seeing a movie on the big screen the way it was meant to be seen is something you can only do for a very, very limited period of time. And then forever afterwards, the life of that movie is going to be in your home theater or on your tablet or whatever the case may be. That's like the real issue there. That's something I wish more filmmakers would keep in mind. Also,
and yeah, no, I'm not trying to take away from the theatrical experience in the least. But yeah, no, like I feel like that certain directors and filmmakers are going to get smart and they're going to utilize these streaming services, and some of them are going to get some big paydays out of it.
Yep.
And yeah, as far as the rest goes, get ready to go to court over some of the shit that happened last year.
I think that's the biggest selling point on working on projects for streaming is like Netflix, man. They'll buy anything over there, anything. And yeah, you can make a lot of money over there. Oh, what was that? Tubi? What was that? On your phone only service that they had for 3 months before it went out of business?
Not Tubi.
Quibi. I covered it. It was one of the first major deep dives I went into saying this thing's going to fail before it even launched. Yeah,
they paid everyone for to do whatever they could on that thing.
Yep.
Which, by the way, they blamed it on what happened that like next year or whatever, but like no, that should have increased. Like that should have helped you because now people are stuck.
Weird short format concept, and again, I mean, Katzenberg went on to, go elsewhere and, make money. And so did Meg Whitman, who was the other executive there. She got a gig elsewhere making tons of money. So don't cry for them, Argentina. I'm just saying.
Yeah. And with that, Tom, do you have any closing remarks on this particular topic?
No, not offhand. I think we should see what the chat's talking about, and then let's talk about some Pablo.
Indeed. We're doing a pretty good job catching up to these super chats here, doing them all while they were relevant.
I did grab some, so I don't know what ones you've gotten already. Sorry about that.
No. Everyone that I have already grabbed, I've unstarred in the process. So they're
well,
all,
I just grabbed a few new ones, so I don't know if those were ones that were, or newer, I should say. So,
yeah.
But let's start at the top here. We got Darius, who says, "Is Hidalgo really fired? Is he not earning that bread anymore? Does that now make him unbreaded?" We'll get to that, Darius, in just a few minutes. I don't know if we all have the answer for that yet, but we might have some clues. So we'll get to that very shortly here.
Maybe
it looks like you started this one. Yeah. You must have started this because you liked it. I don't know if you've addressed it yet, but he goes,
yeah, no, I thought there was like some fairly good speculation in there, because just keep this in mind as we start digging through this. Shaman says Ryan Cannell had a pretty good take on the Hidalgo stuff brewing. Either 1, demoted due to NDAA breaches, 2, trolling Star Wars fans, or 3, demoted due to rumored Me Too accusations. Well, I can say it's definitely not number 2.
It could appear to be that on the surface, but yeah, no, I think it has more to do with number 1, and we're going to get to that in a short time here. So
yeah.
And then we got Christian Corlejo, who says maybe it's an origin story, hence the young actress. Yeah, talking about
this is the point that I'm inclined to believe as well, as pertains to Madam Web.
Very likely, I would say. And then Arden Blade says, I wonder if Book of Boba Fett's bad first episodes were a trap laid by Chapek. It feels like this news with Pablo leans into the series being a corporate ambush. I don't know if I'd go that far.
No, I mean, to quote Sigmund Freud, sometimes a pipe is just a pipe.
Yeah, I think there's something to the fact that Favreau wasn't really present for the first few episodes. That is something, but no, I don't think that it was. Honestly, I think there was so much going on with them just trying to get Book of Boba Fett done that for this whole thing to be some kind of 4D chess by Chapek would be, I think, too far of a stretch.
That's reaching. I mean,
yeah,
I think it's very, very simple. I think it's a matter of they had to change everything in the last moment when they didn't have Gina Carano, because they did have her when it was announced. She was meant to be in it, I think.
Well, at least as far as we know, yeah.
As far as we know, they had to rapidly change it. So then they have like first drafts, basically. And Robert Rodriguez was basically told, here's the scripts. Just go film them and do it fast and do it cheap. Well, they had more time to work with the latter ones, because then he brought in the Mandalorian again.
Yeah,
or rather, they brought in the things that wouldn't involve Gina Carano in either way or form, so they wouldn't have to be changed. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah. Interesting concept, Arden, but that's more like 7D chess than it is 4D
or like
chess.
The Detroit Lions trying to get the number 1 draft pick for the 12th year in a row.
Oh, geez. Master Clockwork says, isn't having a demographic representation? I'd think you'd need an actor to be the thing represented is because of the real world limitations. And this, of course, I think going back to the whole the idea of a blind actress, which again, if you could find a blind actress that I'm sure would fit the bill, great. I just don't know.
But then, of course, you can forget any thought about doing a prequel with the sighted Madam Web. So if that was ever part of the plan, then think again.
Not only that. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was going to say, it's just the idea, like, when you're talking about a very small percentage of people in general that are blind, right? And then out of that small group, you're talking about another small, even smaller group that went into acting. Like,
and I'm
they're
assuming
not-
there's going to have to
they're
be
just
some
not available.
stunts involved in this and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's what I said.
chances are, I don't think that it's the safest environment for a non-sighted actor. Like, let's just say, and again, I'm not trying to say that anybody who's blind cannot play the part. Honestly, I'm sure there's somebody out there who could fit the bill, but like Mad was saying, I think the chances of them finding said person are pretty goddamn slim. So I don't know.
And also, that may not even be right for what they're doing.
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, and that, like, just not everything translates into film from comics. Like, you know, it's just.
Are you sure Garfield was a success?
Andrew? Yeah, I think.
No, I meant the cat, but
yeah.
No, I was kidding. Mexican Iron Man says, "Hey, how you doing, Mikey? Too bad you're not here. It looks like he's on the road listening." Says listening from the road. But thanks, Andre, for inviting Mad the intern onto the show. That's right. For those who don't know, evidently Mad is Culture Casino's intern / what are you now?
No, I've never been an intern.
Diversity hire.
Diversity. How is he diversity hire?
Because I'm a burn victim.
I know he's the only person I know that's been on fire recently.
He's the only person I know who's found a random penis on the ground too, but that doesn't mean shit.
Both of those things are true, but we can go on.
Yeah, I don't see what that has to do with anything. As for Pablo, he is disavowed by true Latino Star Wars fans. No rabbit chickens for Pablo. And I want to thank Duck Nation for also becoming a member. Thank you for that as well. Let's grab a couple more of these and then we'll get to the Pablo news. Why not?
Yeah.
Mike and Ayers says current Madam Web in the comic is Julia Carpenter, Spider-Woman 2. They probably will go with the passing of the torch route like Ant-Man. Oh, if there's a newer version, you bet your ass they're going with that one.
Absolutely.
There's a reason for that, as Ethan Van Sciver and other people have pointed out. A lot of these newer versions have less to do with the whole diversity aspect and more to do with we're going to lose the original characters, so we might want to have backups.
Are they going to lose the original Madam Web, though? Well, I guess anything.
Certain characters they will, certain ones may not so, but at the same time, if you're going to gain some virtue signaling points while you're at it, why not? Now, I know which version of Spider-Woman is it that's under a completely different license? Is it Spider-Woman and Madam Web is the other one that's underneath the license, or which one's which? Because I know one's completely separate.
Well, I think isn't Gwen Stacy the different one?
No, she's underneath the umbrella that Sony has. There's one that's not owned by Sony, or not owned, but licensed by Sony because it's under completely separate license than Spider-Man is. And I can't remember which one it is. I believe it's the original Spider-Woman. Jessica Drew, yes. Thank you, Sebastian, in the chat. Jessica Drew. So it's not that one. Okay. That's what I figured. So this is Sony's doing. This is their version. So they're never going to touch any of that stuff, probably. All right. That's all I needed to know. I think we're clear on that. Thank you so much, Maiken, for that. Then we got Wololos. Am I saying that right? Look at that. Look at that dog. That's a cute dog. He looks like a warrior dog.
Yeah, that's a cute doggy.
What is CLP?
Chilean pesos?
Yes. So we got Wololos listening from Chile. Try and say that 5 times fast.
What?
Wololos from Chile. Never separate culture and entertainment and politics. The woke is a weapon of the CCP. Never was about money. We need to defend Western culture. Yes. Yeah. You're very right, Wololos. Yeah. I mean, of course, there is money in certain aspects of it on certain ends. BLM, excuse me. But no, you're not wrong here. This is a lot of this stuff, as we've pointed out before, by companies and people that we will not mention live for various reasons. But yes, let's just say there are a lot of people who have outside interests involved.
Vested interest. Interest.
Exactly. And those interests are not the betterment society or making your life any better. Quite the contrary.
Exactly. And with that, somebody who is making our life better is Budget Kaiju. He may be a kaiju on a budget, but he still sent us $2. Thank you so much, Budget Kaiju. Didn't put a message in there unless the YouTube monsters ate it.
Ooh.
But Yeah, if you had something you wanted to say, just go ahead and add us, Budget Kaiju. Otherwise, thank you so much for being. Oh, he did have something to say, actually. So this is what he had to say, it looks like, or she. Sorry if you're a she and I'm misgendering you. Pablo Hidalgo's The Force Awakens. Or wait, what's TFW?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, just TFW for the time being.
Yeah. When you are the reason for the company-wide Chapek memo, we must evolve with our audience, not work against them. You might not be wrong on that, Budget Kaiju. So with that, I think that's a good place as any to get into this Pablo Hidalgo stuff.
So I have the answer. It's either transport for whales or that face win or that feeling win.
Oh, well, there you go. That sounds better. Yeah, that face win. You're the reason for a Chapek memo.
But it could be about transporting the whales.
I think no.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, I think that message that Andre had saved is actually more accurate. Like at first glance, look, because this was brought to our attention by Stephanie Janisek originally, and she had noticed that Pablo had removed from his bio that he worked for Lucasfilm. She had basically charted this back to the 23rd of January. And as of yesterday, and I think as of today, actually, I haven't looked today yet. It has not returned on there. He has not put it back up on there, though he has tweeted out Star Wars related stuff. So at first I was like, I think he's trolling, because he has done similar things like this before to try and get people to say that kind of stuff. And then he'll put it back up and whatnot. But now that it's been the better part of 2 weeks and he hasn't, it has a lot of us starting to wonder, what's going on here? Why has Pablo not put that up there? People have asked him straight out, including Drunk 3PO. No response. So, at first glance, it may look like Mr. Hidalgo is no longer part of Lucasfilm. And that memo came out, just about a month ago now?
Yeah. Well, yeah. The Chapek memo. It's 3.5, 4 weeks ago. I think you're right.
Yeah. So it's hey, certain events line up, and he did say arguing with the fans is not a thing we want to do anymore. And what is Pablo most well known for?
Arguing with the fans, more specifically for attacking Star Wars theory. That's our thumbnail. And in the sleaziest way possible. Which, for those that don't recall, I'm sure most of you do, but for those that don't, Star Wars Theory is the single biggest Star Wars YouTuber. And he posted his live reaction while watching the season 2 finale of The Mandalorian, and he was so emotional, like so many others, of the return of Luke Skywalker in the way that we all always wanted to see him, that he shed a tear. And Pablo Hidalgo did not take kindly to this, not at all. He, working for Lucasfilm, he doesn't like people being emotional and sharing their love for Star Wars that way. So yeah, that's a nice way to treat your fans. Of course, I bet that if it had been the sequel trilogy, if there had been anyone on the entirety of the internet, which there wasn't, who posted a similar reaction to anything in The Rise of Skywalker, you would have praised that and shared it and retweeted and everything.
Okay, there actually was a guy that cried at the trailer.
Yeah, but that was the trailer. I bet that he might have cried from the movie too, but for very different reasons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wonder. I don't watch.
The reason why Pablo lashed out at this, it just kind of proved some of our earlier reporting, and that was there was the two factions at Lucasfilm: those who just were classic Star Wars fans, and those who wanted to destroy classic Star Wars and insert their own agendas. And here's the thing: up through the entire Gina Carano incident, which he did put a post out on that day, which was very cryptic, but it was kind of trolling at the same time, I will say. I don't remember the specifics. I think it was just a simple like LOL or laughy face or something like that. But anyhow, point being, one name has consistently come up from anybody I talk to that is remotely close to or part of Lucasfilm, let's say, because I can't get too specific. And that is Pablo Hidalgo. And one name that specifically came up during the Gina Carano stuff was Pablo Hidalgo. But all these things aside, that Pablo has plenty of reasons, or there's plenty of reasons why they should get rid of his ass. Not to mention he inserted himself into Star Wars history. What did he call himself? The Keeper or some shit like that?
I don't recall something pretentious.
He's referred to as Yoda in the building.
Yeah, fuck Yoda. Yeah, bullshit. You wish you were Yoda, motherfucker. Sorry, pardon my French here, but yeah, I would, as like much as I would love to believe that he's fired, and we don't have any concrete proof that he's fired yet. We will say that there's plenty of circumstantial evidence, though. So let's get into some of that circumstantial evidence, because I think that his exit probably has less to do with how he's treated fans and more to do with an incident that roughly lines up with him removing Lucasfilm from his bio. And that was roughly around January 17th. No. This was just before all that stuff, just before he took it down. He had posted, let's see if I can share the story here. And we got to thank Six for bringing this to my attention. And this is probably what Ryan had discovered on his own or whatever. And that was, there was that tweet that Pablo Hidalgo put out about Bad Robot and Lucasfilm not seeing eye to eye on a few things in The Force Awakens.
Right.
That suddenly disappeared.
Well, he deleted his tweets, yeah.
Here was his tweet. Basically, Bad Robot wanted it blown up. Lucasfilm didn't. Hassan and Prime was the unsatisfying middle grounds. It happens. And now they were arguing over what was going to get destroyed or whatever by the...
Yeah, well, he wanted to destroy the city planet.
Yeah, Coruscant.
Yeah.
So again, this may seem a bit benign on the surface, but Andre, what does this really kind of reflect in that tweet, and why he probably had to take it down? And not only that, it might be something that was basis enough to get rid of him, even though it's a lot of this other stuff was built on top of it. But go ahead. I want to hear your assessment.
Well, he shared something he wasn't authorized to share. No one was supposed to know. It makes everyone involved look bad. I mean, when they sign NDAs and stuff like that, this is exactly what they're for. So that whatever they want to come out there is what comes out. And if someone has to address something, it has to be cleared. And if none of those two are the case, it's a direct violation of the NDA, which is, the consequences may vary, but it's certainly a fightable offense. That's like my first thought on that. Yeah, he added fuel to the fire that they didn't want added.
Culture, do you think that this was basically, how do you put it, Capone getting busted for tax evasion?
Yeah, I think it's close. I'm not ready to say he's gone from Lucasfilm yet, because
I hate to say that he's gone because we don't know for sure.
But it's interesting what his actual change in his header was, right? Useful cog or disposable cog, I believe.
Dispensable cog was what he had. Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, if he was trolling us, I would think that by now this is like the world's longest troll.
But, he may have essentially been, read the Riot Act and, essentially said, you know what, you're going to fulfill your contract and then you're gone. I think I would be more willing to lean that direction than saying outright canceled. But it's very clear. He says a lot of things that he should know better.
I'll give you guys one other scenario before we get Mad's take on this.
Okay.
And that was, let's say the whole thing with Chapek playing nice with Kathleen Kennedy is true. What if getting rid of Pablo was a compromise? What if that was Favreau's, I'll do this for you guys, anything, whatever it is they're asking him to do, but that little fucker's got to go.
He's going to be a creative lead. And if I were him, I'd just get rid of the entire story group. I mean,
he is the head monkey. Let's be real.
Yeah. I just
in the group of flying monkeys, as Cameron has coined them. Sorry.
Yeah. And also Cameron has also said that that all those flying monkeys, they have no future elsewhere, and they will be sacrificed as pawns the moment for that is opportune. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And yeah, Tom, you're of course right, because here's like the thing that violating NDA, that's a fireable offense, but it's entirely up to how strictly your boss interprets it, whether you get fired or not. And if there's someone that really wants to get rid of you, well, like Al Capone's tax evasion, that's very convenient out, if indeed he is fired.
Because let's be real, Chapek putting that out there is not going to put anybody who's actually done it prior to that in trouble, because the rule wasn't there ahead of time, even if it is a written down rule, right? So that was basically the warning shot. That was, from here on out, any one of you fuckers caught doing this, you're going to be held responsible. I feel like this is more like they at that point, that was like the final warning. But when he went out there and did this was them going, gotcha, kind of thing. Because like you got Bad Robot and Disney, who both have an opinion in this.
And also violating NDA in any event.
That's what I'm saying.
The two of them are involved, even without anything else.
He didn't have any goodwill or any weight.
You're gonna have to need a significant amount of goodwill to get out of that. If you don't,
or weight, yeah,
exactly.
Pablo may have a bit of weight around the waistline, but he sure as hell doesn't have the weight like Kathleen Kennedy, and that was my whole point to begin with.
On the contrary, if they need some kind of scapegoat, then he's starting to look awfully tempting.
Now, culture. I've been hearing rumblings about this Ann Sarnoff meeting. What the hell is that all? Or not Ann Sarnoff, what's her face? The other chick that he just brought in at Disney.
Susan Arnold.
Susan Arnold, sorry.
Look, they're going to be working fairly closely together. I mean that, so it's not. I'm not going to read too much into that, because she's essentially they're going to try to shape a better, safer direction for the company so that it doesn't find itself in bad optic situations, where it's looking like they're a politically operated company. But aside from that, I wouldn't want to read too deeply into that, Tom. I really wouldn't. So, I mean, there's some stuff there that I know that both of us have heard, but I'm not.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I just know that there was kind of a meeting,
I'm not going to. Yeah. Sorry.
I wonder, like, so Pablo with this whole tweet and the NDA and all that, like, are we saying like he just was dumb and didn't realize that it would break it, or
because like possibly, and that's kind of what I was getting at, is they kind of used it as a gotcha.
Yeah.
And there is this one other last bit that Six pointed out to me, and that was on the 23rd. This guy asked, hope you write a new visual dictionary soon. They are great. He says, I'm sure I will someday. Taking a break now. So maybe he's on one of those 2-week Whoopi Goldberg leaves. But it's more like a couple of months or something.
Take out of that.
It sounded a little bit permanent than the 2
Yeah, I think so. But we've seen other people permanently, quote unquote, leave before, but yet still work within the family, like Kiri Hart, for instance.
Yeah, what we have.
So again, we don't have any solid, concrete proof that he's out, but there sure is a hell of a lot of smoke here.
That there is.
Well, yeah, when you surround yourself with a bunch of people who all just like attack other people, or the fans or whoever, like, you can't be shocked when they turn on you when they need you know what I mean? When they need somebody to take that.
I'm sure he can, when he works in a company where the culture is under Kathleen Kennedy that the fans, for not liking what we do, are evil and problematic, and they need to go so that we can get in new and safer fans in here, replacing these old gizzards. When you work somewhere where that is the atmosphere and that is the culture, Well, of course, she's going to think that, yeah, I can say what I want and get away with it. Not only can I get away with it, I'm probably going to be praised, get high fives and brownie points.
Yeah, and I don't think Neil's wrong here. I don't know about a hard target, but he's definitely had a soft target on his back ever since this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And when Chapek said that stuff, I'm sure that was one of the people he was talking about.
Of course, it doesn't have to be the only one, because there's so many also.
That's the problem, yeah.
Staff that have been so vicious. I mean, even Taika Waititi. He was like, "I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby," or something along those lines.
That's what he said.
Yeah, he's funny. I like Taika Waititi. I'm a big fan of his. I feel like he was.
Yeah, his is the only one that I don't know. I'm not so sure on if that was even really a troll or as much as it was just like.
Well, that was a mild thing. Point is that you have many things like that. When you look at some of the Marvel writers,
Ryan Johnson and other people,
yeah.
Oh yeah, don't even get us started on Marvel writers, because there's that one guy. What was that one guy who had What I Want to Do to MAGA Kids and had that picture of the wood chipper thing from Fargo?
Something like that. And one of them even got fired. I forgot, it's like some other super woke SJW of the highest order writer. I forgot his name right now. But one was even so bad he got fired for it. But still, he was in an environment where he thought it was okay, that you can basically just call for the mass extermination of anyone who doesn't think quite like you.
That's a daily occurrence on Twitter now, though.
Yeah.
Trucker Tom. But look, I hate to do this. I have to swing out of here. I had a lot of fun. My final speculation on this is that, he got put in a timeout box for the time being. And, that's where I'm going to fall until the things otherwise come out, because, based on the fact that, he definitely, pointed the finger at some missteps, and who's to blame for them, during the course of his leak to the public, 20 days ago or whatever it was. I think he did get put in a public timeout box, and you know what? He deserves it. And, whether or not he's there or not, I think it doesn't matter. Star Wars ruined. All roads still lead to, the titty milk.
You may be right and have a point there, Culture, but I think this is a step in the right direction if it's true.
Yeah, but I do have to step out. I had a great time. Thank you all.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah. Work calls. Love you guys. See you soon.
Bye, Culture.
Because like Pablo is definitely, he may be a dispensable cog according to his bio, but he is not a dispensable cog when it comes to the problems that Lucasfilm has. In fact, he is one of the main cogs of the problem.
Oh, for sure. I think that any hopes of it being, I don't know, they would have to just fundamentally change like the entire makeup of their staff from top to bottom to really have any chance of actually turning around the franchise. I think it's better to let it die now, just let them ruin it completely, and hopefully eventually somebody will come around with love and give it another go.
I think Favreau has his heart's in it. I think his heart's in the right place, but he's putting too much faith in Filoni. And yes, I meant to say it like that. But we'll have to see how these things go. They've, in other news, when it comes to Star Wars, Casio Keyboard's getting a second season before anybody's seen a lick of it.
Oh, that's quite optimistic right there, especially
that came out yesterday.
They had with season 1.
The Andor guy, like I don't know. Barely anyone knows his name. How's he getting a second season?
Yeah, that's why I make fun of him as Casio Keyboard. Nobody cares.
Everyone cares about the robot, but he apparently won't be in season 1. So fingers crossed for season 2.
Wow. The one bright spot of his story is not even included.
Well, not only that, they had heavily hinted that a lot of that stuff was going to be building off of what they put into Solo. So, yeah. Again, all roads still lead to the sequel trilogy, but let's just hope that they find ways to get there that aren't as fucking revolting, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. I'm trying to be optimistic for Star Wars, but
Oh, this is your
Well, hope
being
springs
optimistic.
eternal. I mean, there's not much else to say about it, is there?
No, there isn't. So let's
No.
see what the chat's saying. Edgy number 1 send in £5 earlier. Thank you so much. Says TVs are getting massive. This is when we were talking about the Netflix stuff and Martin Scorsese, I believe. Even 16:9 might get superseded for a larger format. This may attract more filmmakers to streaming particular auteurs. You're not wrong. Like gaming screens are already basically the 2:3:5 aspect ratio. I wouldn't be surprised if we reach a point where they eventually give you more options on, do you want a widescreen TV or do you want the more standard widescreen TV? Because if I had the choice right now, considering 90% of the stuff I watch is movies and a lot of those are in scope, like I'm still stuck watching shit with black bars, which I know I don't mind because I'm used to that. But if I had the choice between watching large format films and, you know, filling up my screen more and then having the sides cropped off on a 16, you know, or 185 movie, I'd go with that. Because then that to me makes the bigger movies feel bigger. You know what I mean? Like where the 16:9 screen is at right now, it's a mathematical equation that is exactly between 4:3 and 240. The two main used aspects between television and movies. So it's just a kind of happy medium. But no, you're not wrong. I feel like there's going to be different shaped televisions in the future. That's definitely a conversation for 4K for you. So you should bring that up there. Rico Zorro's in the house, Andre.
Yeah, and he says for $10, so thank you so much. You guys are the best at super chats. Never change. Oh, we do our best. Wish more live streamers were like you in this regard. Rico Suave Soro. Haha, cheers, Andre, and everyone part of the Midnight's Edge community.
And from here on out, I'm going to say your
I'm
name
so
is...
glad you got the Rico Suave.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
Speaking of, from now on, when I do say Rico's name, it's going to be Rico Zorro. Just like
you forgot Suave in there. That's
no, it's Rico Zorro.
Suave.
There's too many words then.
I had a chuckle lab when I was in high school because, you know, I would refer to myself as Rico Suave. My dog's
why am I not surprised?
My dog's name was Nico Latte.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
That's good combo,
Lord.
actually.
But I'm not surprised you call yourself Rico Suave. Mecca J is here and says, "Where was all the uproar when Charlie Cox announced to play Daredevil, who is blind? This outrage culture needs to end."
The outrage culture hadn't gotten that far at the time. I'm sure if it had
not only that, I don't know if enough people knew he was blind yet.
Yeah, that could also be because
we got to remember that Ben Affleck movie didn't necessarily set the world on fire.
No, it didn't necessarily do that. Although I actually liked it, and
I do too.
Costume.
But
I'm a big Colin Farrell fan.
My point is, though, I don't know if enough people were that familiar with the character yet. But in this case, you have more eyeballs on stuff, so I'm sure there's enough people. Because there's always so many wokes out there that are gonna go, "Well, what about this?" And it's like, where the fuck did you come from? Like, sorry, I didn't know it mattered to you and why, but hey, okay. Like the whole Peter Dinklage thing. Did we even get a chance to talk about it on the morning show at all?
I think we mentioned.
I think we grazed.
I don't remember. Like it's been covered to death everywhere.
I know, yeah. So I just wanted to be sure that everybody knew what we were talking about.
I know we spoke about it, or you spoke about it on toxic femininity. So I think I figured like, oh well, it's covered there. I didn't say too much about it myself. I mean,
no, but basically,
actually, we did. I remember now. It was when Script Doctor was here and they made all the amazing puns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and that's when we were. Yeah, okay.
I get forgotten the discussion, but I just remember Script Doctor's puns because they were freaking hilarious. Like some of his best work.
I mean,
see why he's a script writer.
Yeah, there's another example where, yeah, we may not know for sure whether or not Disney was ever planning on it, but we kind of have some proof that they were, and that Dinklage kind of pretty much just cost 7 actors a job. Because that one actor was saying that they were in discussions with Disney, which kind of implies to me, like, or the way he put it almost sounded like there was a deal in place.
And he lost out
to that.
It up. If so, that's horrendous, because I would imagine that they would like take 7 normal actors that you would recognize and dwarfify them like they did that guy from Little Britain in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. I would imagine they would do something like that. Or hell, even all the dwarfs in Lord of the Rings. I mean, or Hobbits, because there they didn't even look like dwarves. Like the proportions were all wrong.
Yeah, he didn't do it. Well, it's because he didn't do as much of the. He didn't do hardly any of the forced perspective in The Hobbit. It was all done in the computer that time.
I could totally tell.
Yeah, you can tell.
Yeah,
could
totally tell.
I mean, they could even do what they did in Tiptoes with Gary Oldman and have him just walk around.
Oh, that was horrible.
Like, that's a real thing that happened.
I know, and it looks horrible.
Peter's in that one too, right?
He is, yes, sadly, in that movie.
could you imagine seeing the lead just walking around on the knees when you're like, man, I could play that part?
I'm sure Dinklage was not too happy about that. That's the one time he should have spoke up.
Right?
Because no, honestly, Andre, I mean, until I read that one deal, I can't remember the actor's name. I don't think it was Postal, it was the other actor, I believe, who was talking about, like, it sounded like it was a done deal with Disney, or they were in talks with them, and they were like getting in the process of signing the big deal, and Dinklage fucked that up, because I would have just assumed, being their live action version of Snow White, they were probably just I figured it was going to be CGI dwarves, basically the same versions we had before, just diversified, right? You know, one would be played by, you know, a black guy, the other would be played by an Asian guy, and so on down the line, instead of them all being white. Like, it'd be like a bunch of diverse dwarves and Dopey is what I figured. Because he would be the one that they wouldn't change at all, because he's the most iconic, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, but for those that want a more faithful remake, live action version of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, D. Bud Martin actually has the answer here, saying Rammstein made themselves dwarves in their Sonne video. This is actually true. I mean, to me, that's a definitive live-action version of the story. So for those that haven't seen it, check out Rammstein's music video, Sonne. It is actually Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, with themselves as the dwarfs. It's just 6 of them. But,
you know what I really want? I bet you Norwegians could make some really dark fairy tales.
Oh, I'll send you some examples.
I mean, like the original
check out, there's a movie called Tall, which is about the... what the hell is it in English? Well, basically Norwegian succubus.
All right.
Oh, okay.
Well, because I've always had. Okay, Culture supposedly just sent me a big story. Sorry, I got distracted there.
I think you were going to talk about.
Okay, looks like Rumble is joining the Joe Rogan side of the fight.
Oh,
yeah, I saw something about that, but I don't know.
They posted something that says, Joe Rogan, dear Joe, we stand with you, your guests, and your legion of fans in desire for real conversation. So we'd like to offer you 100 million reasons to make the world a better place. How about you bring all your shows over to Rumble, both old and new, with no censorship, for $100 million for over 4 years? This is our chance to save the world. And yes, this is totally legit. Sincerely, Chris Pavlovsky, CEO.
Well, that's a good way for some of us. But you know, the beauty is, what I like about it is, it only goes to show that if it all goes to shit with Spotify, Rogan is not going to miss a beat. He's just going to go with someone else.
Oh, hell
He's
no.
going to give him another $100 million. I mean, he'd probably be delighted if Spotify said, look, yeah, the pressure's getting too much for us, and Spotify would be dead and gone the week after. I mean, if they think that the
he's been compromised from the start over there. That's the thing.
Well, depending on the contract, because, you know, I'm sure there's some type of like non-compete element to it, but depending on how it is is broken or whatever, dissolved, like, he should be able to go to another to a competitor, right? Like,
you're right, but in most contracts,
it depends. But here's like the thing, though. In a particular case like this, I mean, you often have, like, for instance, if you work in banking or something, you typically have like a quarantine period where, like, for instance, you can't work for a competing company for 6 months. I don't think they would be able to get away with something like that here in this case. That would be kind of like an acting contract saying that, well, you can't do any other movies for 6 months after this. Don't work like that. So
well,
no, I don't.
There
think
have been contracts like that, though, Andre.
Yeah,
well,
like with Marvel and DC.
I would be shocked if Joe Rogan agreed to such a thing where he would have to do some kind of like a quarantine period. I would be shocked if he agreed to that.
You're right, but let's just say, for the sake of argument, playing devil's advocate, that there is a clause like that. With the situation they're in right now, if Spotify wanted an out, this is it, right? Like, I'm sure there's some kind of terms that could be, yeah.
And part of me kind of like hopes that they take it, because with like a statement like that from Rumble, I mean, they know that they get Rogan, they'll have new subscribers to pay for that 100 million overnight.
Oh,
and Spotify, if they think that without the Rogan controversy, their share price is going to go up again, they have another thing coming, and they deserve it.
I feel like, I mean, before they made that deal, they had to do the math on this to see, because they knew who Joe was coming in, like, to see how much it would cost if something like this does happen, like the amount of fans that they would, or subscribers they would lose versus how many they would gain by bringing him on. Like, somebody had to do some math on that, so I'm sure there's some type of
Spotify is only live today probably because of him. Like,
yeah,
when this first come up, I think this is where because I think this is where we did broach this topic a little bit, Andre, on the show, is where I said, like, you take him off the platform, they have nothing, because there's so many ways to listen to music.
They'll have Neil Young, so all the millions and millions of people that are into Neil Young, they are all gonna go sign up.
That's my point exactly. It's disposable shit outside of that. Like, nobody cares. You can literally go get Neil Young music anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And also, Neil Young music is now retroactively ruined. He can go get bent. And so can his.
I've always said he could get bent, because look at Southern Fried Tom here would tell you, guess what, sir? Guess what, sir? Leonard Skinner told you a long time ago, a Southern man don't need you around anyhow, Granny. Fuck off. We don't need you.
That's exactly right.
I love the fade out at the end.
That's the thing, is a lot of these people that are doing this, they're just trying to grasp for a little bit of fame again. Because, like, who literally, since when was the last time Neil Young was in the conversation for anything?
Well, he had like this stupid thing where he and a young stand-in, like old and young Neil Young sitting on a tree trunk or something like that on one of like these fake ass talk shows. That was like the last thing he did anything, and that ironically was better than anything he's ever done before. But yeah, that's neither here nor there.
The only thing he has going for him is I think he's one of the few artists who still does his music with analog, and that's it. That's all he has going for him. Actually, I don't even know if he does that. Yeah, exactly. I don't even know. And not all of his albums. I think just recently he's decided to. I'm not even 100% sure on that. But he doesn't even own most of his music. Huh?
He still puts out albums. I mean, I thought he was dead before he did this.
No, I know. He does consistently put albums out.
And I liked him better when I thought he was dead.
I'll be honest, I'm still not sure if he's alive. Like, do we know?
That's true. He could be. They could be burning him.
Yeah,
this whole thing. You know what? That's all right, because guess what? Neil Diamond is 10 times the man you are. Brown Vegan says, "Go woke, go broke. The tide." I think it means tides are turning. I think you're onto something. We've definitely been seeing some changes in the wind, that's for sure. Valiant is in the house. Unfortunately, couldn't join us on the show today. He says, "Thanks for the invite, guys. Sorry I can't make it today, but I'm lurking." Hashtag Pablo's big mouth. Yes, indeed. Thank you for being here, Valiant. We appreciate any kind of support you can give us, of course. Matthew W. says, "Don't make fun of fans. They pay the bills. Don't share stuff on Twitter. They couldn't take out KK. Hidalgo is easy to get rid of instead." Exactly. Even if he wasn't a specific compromise, he's definitely somebody they can make an example of if this is true. But I think Matthew, that it's kind of more along the lines like Culture and I were saying, he's probably getting a timeout more than he is getting fired.
Yeah, he's not getting that full ride, but like, somebody had to go, so they sprinkle a little crack around him, and off he goes.
That is an old Dave Chappelle joke.
I thought you would appreciate that one.
Well, you think every black man dies with crack sprinkled on him?
And Double Back again says, I'd like to see Gina cancel Pablo.
I would love to see that, but you know what?
Like
She's
to see
a better
everyone
person.
do it, because that's when it really matters. I would like to see everyone take Gina's side and let history and truth and justice prevail.
You know what? She was at least a classy enough person not to name names and shit, right? Like she was hinting heavily that there was certain people that were out for her. And I'm pretty sure that's who one of those people she was talking about.
Yeah, the first and foremost.
Yeah. I can't say that with all certainty, but I can say it with a lot of certainty. But yeah, Double Back again. I think Gina's somebody who would take the much higher road. I don't think she'd wish the same thing upon any of her enemies like that. Because I honestly don't feel like she would hate Pablo or have anything against him.
Yeah.
Except for the fact that he's a complete woke jerk off who hated her from the start, or from the moment he realized she was not going to fit in his perfect little bubble.
Yeah. Look, again, like when you surround yourself with vipers, like you can't be surprised when they turn on you.
Indeed. And then we got Valiant again, who said exactly what Tom said. My sentiments exactly yesterday. There's a whole ton of smoke here. Yeah, I'd like to believe he's gone, but we don't have enough. We don't have any fire yet.
Exactly. But let's hope springs eternal.
Exactly. Glade Riven says Babylon 5 reboot delayed due to CW sales. Straczynski's still cursed, trying to bring back B5. Yeah, we heard this the other day, actually, Glade Ribbon. You must have missed the show. But we actually took this as a little bit of a better, it's actually kind of good news. Because then this means, because from what we heard, at least from a member of our own chat said, that according to them, there was a producer on the Warner Brothers side of things who was a fan of the show and didn't want it destroyed or mucked up with the process of all this, let's say, head rolling that's going to go down. So he kind of kept it off to the side, and supposedly it's in the works, but it's just kind of put into stasis at the moment. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, kind of.
Because that was like what Mikey Sutton had kind of said. And that was the same thing I was hearing, is like everything was in a holding pattern. That was the term he used. Until Zaslav had come in and we've already seen some moves. So I feel like even though I don't think everything's completely done in stone yet, I think he's orchestrating things off to the side. Because it was like as soon as certain things happened, the next day we had the Joker 2 news and some other things. So like I feel like there's some moves being made already. And we'll see how these things go. But I wouldn't lose hope yet. How's that sound? And from what I've heard, because isn't the Babylon 5 recently remastered and put on HBO Max? Because I know they got a good response from that.
Oh, is it really? Man,
I think so. I think that's the one I was thinking of.
I love Babylon 5, and I do not want it to be remade.
Because if I remember right, that was the one that they quietly remastered it and put it out, and then everybody's like, "Holy shit, they remastered Babylon 5." I think that's the one. And the response to that was like pretty big, considering they did 0 advertising. Yeah, Mike, thank you, Mike Tochi confirmed it in the chat. That's what I thought. So I think a lot of the reason this is happening is because that was so well received. Even though, like I said, they did no advertising. Oh, it was a cleanup, not a remaster. Okay. Still. I heard the response was really well received, and the show was a go. It's just hitting some speed bumps right now. So fingers crossed. That
if it's hopefully if Zaslav sees that, yeah, this is good, let's do it, then it's in a holding pattern right now, but it's not going to stay there for long.
Exactly. And I think he'll look at the numbers. He'll definitely take a look at the numbers, and he'll notice if there's a fan base there.
Exactly. So that's like the beauty. Something like that with something like Zaslav has a very good chance of proceeding the moment that the coast is clear for it.
Yeah. And I think, doesn't Straczynski have some kind of ownership in that too? So I don't think they can necessarily do anything without him or something like that. I heard. I could be wrong on that, but
I don't trust them with any like I don't want to see a Babylon 5 because I don't trust them to do it justice at all. Like,
as far as I know, it's not. It's supposed to. I mean, Michael J. Straczynski's the one in charge of it, so
Yeah,
we'll see.
he's the showrunner, so hopefully it's in good hands. Hopefully he hasn't lost his mind.
Yeah,
that's like the thing. Just because you have someone that he used to do really, really good way back when. I mean, there are too many of them that have lost their minds ever since.
I think he had confirmed though it wasn't going to go woke.
Hope springs eternal. We shall see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought he had said in an interview or on a tweet or something like that. Somebody had asked him, and yeah. Eric Rugen Madsen is here, and he sends in 50 Danish krona. Says, how the hell did Rammstein avoid lawsuits with Sone Video when Disneyland After Dark got slapped so hard by Disney they became DAD?
Yeah. Some context is required here. There's a Danish band big in the 90s that were called DAD. And that's the name that they had to take on because originally they called themselves Disneyland After Dark. That was, I don't know if they actually got any records out with that label on them. They would be collectibles in Denmark if that was the case. But anyway, Disney got a whiff of, there's a Danish band calling themselves Disneyland After Dark. Let's sue them. That's exactly what they did. And then they changed the name to DAD, or DAD, as it were. A pretty decent band, actually. And for those that haven't seen the Rammstein video I spoke of earlier, Sonne, again, this is the video that is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And you can tell because the Snow White in it wears the exact same outfit as Disney's Snow White. So why did they get away with it? Well, Tom, have you seen the video? Matt, have you seen the video?
No, but I can pretty much expect why, because you can't sue somebody over parody.
Exactly. That is the exact reason. If Rammstein had called themselves the Disneyland Flughafen or something like that, then that would not go so well.
Or if they called the video Disney's Snow White or something like that.
Right, yeah, that would also not go well.
Official Disney Snow White music trailer.
Yeah,
like that's the thing is parody, it falls under such a large umbrella when it comes to these kind of things that 9 times out of 10, that's why most people don't sue. Because unless it's a direct ripoff, because we've even seen things with like the Conan and He-Man lawsuit where pretty much if almost any angle you look at it, it's like, how the fuck did they lose this case? Like, I just don't get it. But there was enough reasonable doubt that they did, and parody cases generally get thrown out right away. Like, I mean, it's there's
if the song had been called Disney Snow White, and you see her shooting up drugs and stuff like that, which she does in this video, that would be a very, very different thing. But yeah, no, they get away with it.
Yeah, it's such a muddy.
And for those that haven't seen it, just head on, watch it. It's a really cool video. Awesome song too. Also, I saw some. I wasn't able to highlight the chat when it was on, but so big yourself up for those that made it. But someone said maybe Peter Dinklage saw that video because he was talking about like disgusting dwarves living in a cave.
Yeah. Where is he getting this shit from?
In the Rammstein video. I mean, it begins with them literally being covered in soot and dust and everything like that because they're digging for gold in a cave.
Well, they do work in a mine, but they live in a house.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
so that's like, but that's like the only time when you see them like really dirtied up and drilling. That's in the Rammstein video.
I hope that's what he got it mixed up with. I really hope that would be
hilarious if that were the case.
And the music in that was just it was a crazy. Anyway,
yeah,
Pilgrim Media says, like Salty Cracker says, we have to use cancel culture weapons against them to beat them. I can't say I totally agree with this.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing is, and I brought this up the other day, so I'm not going to try and rehash it all. But like, look, Tom Rothman sucked for Fox, but he's done amazing for Sony. So there's definitely a job for everybody. Clearly, though, people like Pablo Hidalgo would do better with different jobs.
For sure.
And that's the other thing is a lot of these people are definitely going to fall on their feet. It's not like they're not going to bounce back.
And hopefully they learn a lesson, like as they fall. Like that's usually how, that's how growth happens as a person.
Another example is like Leslie Headland. I mean, she come out and she's like, I want to tell Star Wars from the black perspective with a black writer and a black this and black. It's like, sounds to me like you want to tell a movie from the black perspective. Guess what? There's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of black writers out there who probably have millions of scripts that are doing just what you want to do, but they're not Star Wars. Why? Because what you're trying to do in Star Wars don't exactly fit because you already have a universe full of aliens. So like clearly these people want to make something else. Kind of like Paul Feig when he came into Ghostbusters. It's like you go through that stuff and it's like, this guy didn't want to make a Ghostbusters movie. He wanted to make a Men in Black movie. So why didn't we get Women in Black instead? This makes no sense. But needless to say, we got Ghostbusters 2016 out of it. So go figure. But these people can work in other ways in other places. I wouldn't call it necessarily cancel culture.
No.
I mean, and then it's, the other side of it is like, do I agree with like Whoopi getting do I think she should be fired? No. I think the suspension is a slap on the wrist though. But at the same time, if she were to quit tomorrow, it's not like Whoopi Goldberg would ever need anything for the rest of her life. Right. So like a lot of these people we're talking about when it comes to the cancel culture thing. So this is why I don't totally disagree with you here, Pilgrim Rita, is that a lot of these people are already well off enough that it's not going to affect them in any way, shape or form outside of emotionally.
If they do cancel like their own, you know what I mean? Like we don't have to step up and, defend them is one thing, but not participate in their cancellation of their own. Does that make sense?
Well, and it is kind of a form of cancel culture in a sense. And I know I'm kind of simplifying it, but when you decide not to buy something or watch something because you're no longer a part of that fandom because they've turned you off, that's kind of what you're ostensibly doing, right? But in its place, something else will sprout, hopefully. That's where, like, a lot of people have always been like, the big thing with Star Trek is like, if you don't like Discovery, then we'll never get Star Trek again. It's like, yeah, I remember McDonald's closing because the McLean failed. That's not how this shit works,
That's
kids.
funny.
They will just try again. They're too popular. I hate using the term too big to fail, but they kind of are. Star Wars and some of these other things fall in the same place. Same thing with some people in the industry. So yeah, again, I don't agree with cancel culture. Yeah. Again, I don't agree with cancel culture as a general idea, but at the same time, I think there's varying degrees of it as well. Kind of like when Matt Damon was talking about Me Too and got blasted when he's like, well, there's varying degrees to this shit. They're like, no, it's not, Matt. It's like, okay, no, there's a big difference between like people giving somebody a hug like Lassiter as opposed to the shit Weinstein did. I'm sorry, there's a big difference. Anyway, sorry, Andre. Yes.
Yeah, no, I was about to give another example, but will be instantly taken down and demonetized.
Yeah, so I thought that was as close as we could get to it. Yeah.
Well, let's just say there's a difference between giving a hug and what happens in HBO's Us. Let's put it that way.
Does Superman know about that? Anyway, bad joke about Superman going to prison, I guess. Snell World says is Pablo Snell World asks, is Pablo the victim of Bob Chapek's memo? Now, looks like you came in after we had already kind of talked about this. I'm sure that was a factor in it, but I think we all, I don't know, unless somebody here still doesn't think any otherwise. But
Pablo was one example of that, but there's plenty to pick and choose from against Disney employees waging war on their fans.
No, and I think we're, like, all of us are more in agreement that this was kind of more of an Al Capone situation. It's like, the warning's out there. Yeah, you got away with it thus far, but you better keep your nose clean. And he didn't keep his nose clean, and they found something right away to nail him with.
Yeah. And also, before we carry on, everyone smash that like.
Yes,
Do what
please.
Natasha says. Get us to 1,000 likes. We're almost 1,400 watching. So yeah, some of you haven't smashed that like yet.
And we're writing down names. We're making a list.
And Mad probably is. Tennille says, scapegoat usually implies dubious culpability, though, doesn't it? Seems to me that assuming it's true, Pablo has a lot of this directly at his feet. No, you're right, Tennille. You are correct in that. But I think if you're referring to like, he's going to basically saddle, I feel like in the sense that what we meant was, I think it was more of a compromise with whatever was going on with Kathleen Kennedy, Chapek, and Favreau. I have nothing to go on with this though, Tennille, but I do have a feeling that if he is gone, that was a big part of it. It was like, okay, you took one of mine, now I get to take one of yours, kind of thing, like a chess game. Does that make sense? Like this is the retaliation for Gina, I think. I could be 100% wrong though.
Well, it's not enough because
no, it's not. But it's a first.
It's a beginning, but there's plenty others that, and that's even assuming that he's out.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like, but the going to that point is like, people are like, well, why didn't Favreau do this and why didn't Favreau do that? I'm like, we kept trying to tell people he's smarter than that. And if anything, this is something I could see him orchestrating. Like it is definitely within the realm of possibility. Because if they want him to be this, creative director like they're talking about, then I'm sure one of his first things was like, all right, fine. Since I had no say over what happened to Gina, that little fucker's got to go because he causes problems. I can totally see Favreau doing that. Now, again, I have nothing to go on, though, so don't quote me on that. That's just me speculating. Tennille89 then adds, what's that old Plinkett joke, to paraphrase? Favreau couldn't direct Star Wars, and Pablo could direct people to their seats in the theater. Ba-dum-bum. Not that anybody's asking Pablo to direct anything, but the joke is sound.
Yeah.
And with that, I think we are caught up, unless somebody thought we may have missed any other super chats.
Yeah, if someone thinks we missed some, then let us know now, because we would be devastated if we did leave some. So now is the time. It absolutely is.
But with me coming in late, I tried to make sure we got everything. But if I happen to miss something, please let us know real quick while we're wrapping up here. But do check out Culture Casino's channel, where he posts stuff almost every single day. I think he does the 6-minute daily thing every day.
Yeah, and he did it earlier today as well. So go check that out.
It's not every day. It's
he acts like it's every day,
right?
And then also check out Mad's channel. What is it called now? Mad Barber
Entertainment. Yeah. We were watching Ankle Biters, which is a movie about vampiric LPs.
I did watch some of that with you guys.
Yes, you did.
Definitely interesting. Bamagrad says, hail all, great show. Andre, you surprised and impressed me on Friday. On Friday's discussion of the actors who may portray He-Man, you correctly mentioned muscle memory when noting building mass. Oh, there's a reason for that, Bamagrad. Andre knows a little bit about bodybuilding, don't you?
I do. I mean, fit. I've been lifting weights for many years, so I know a little bit about that.
I mean, I know muscle memory just from, what having it.
But yeah, just to get back to that point then, because this is about Kyle, whatever. I can't even remember his name.
Kyle Allen, I think it is.
Yeah, exactly. How bad is that? He's a He-Man actor, and I can't even for the life.
What's sad is it's just a generic ass name, because that's why it's such a generic ass name. It almost sounds like a 1940s actor.
But the point is though that this is someone who is extremely fit, right? So I'm not criticizing him in any way. If I were to go in a ring with him, I don't know that I would come out on top, although I only would have to land a couple of blows. But he can dance around me so much that, he may win.
He can do flips around endurance. Didn't you see the video? He could flip over you.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Honestly, as nimble and slender as he is, he'd be perfect for fucking Keldor.
I know. He'd be good for that. But the point though is that he's really nimble. He's really athletic. He's a super fit guy, And he's obviously spent a lifetime doing that. And someone who's done that, they can't just switch to putting on mass. Their fundamentals of their muscle fibers wouldn't allow it. I mean, the amount of steroids needed for him to put on some serious mass, if he were to like put on like 20 pounds of muscle, he'd get a heart attack and die.
Beefcake.
So which is why I'm like thinking that they're not even looking for someone muscular. So I think that he's just going to be Adam, and a CGI augmented version of him will be He-Man, because he simply can't put on the muscle needed. It would be physically impossible. Tom, you would have an easier time putting on muscle
probably
than
because
him.
my shoulders are broad and I have the body for that. But I'd
And
probably
also,
end up looking more like,
you don't have a lifetime of conditioning in one particular type of exercise. If you decided, okay, you're going to put on muscle mass now, you could totally do it easier than he could.
But I'd probably look more like a linebacker or a wrestler, though. I still wouldn't end up looking like He-Man. Like that's the kind of body style I have. But that's the important part is like, and that's the point you're getting at, and that's a big deal. Like the only reason I kind of half-ass know what you're talking about is, you know, Schwarzenegger gets into this shit heavily in his book, and he talks about a lot of this stuff. So I kind of know where you're coming from on a lot of this stuff, and he says it flat out. And they're like these guys, how they were doing certain things wrong, and you know why he won all the time wasn't so much that he was the biggest guy in the room, but he was the most well-toned, and he knew where to define himself.
Exactly. He was the perfect combination of genetics and training. Because here's like the thing: not everyone can be a successful bodybuilder. It's a genetic component to it, to how defined and how big you possibly can get, and that's the thing with Kyle here. He can be super fit. He can jump around like Bruce Lee, but he can't put on muscle mass to save his life.
Well, I'm sure they have one of those suits. Like I've worn it at Halloween before.
Yeah, they're going to have to
get in it.
Well, there's one possibility.
Or the CGI one.
Well, besides that is, you know, I've seen some of the art that they've done. I think it was specifically for one of the last versions. That version of He-Man they had was a pretty slender looking He-Man. So I wonder if they ain't going to go with a more slender version.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, this guy, I mean, he could do okay. I mean, maybe they are going to go with a more athletic.
Also, remember, I mean, the image of like the muscly He-Man that came from like the sword and sorcery imagery of the 80s. That's kind of like
true, because like if you look at the 2000 series, yeah, he's big, but if you look at him proportional wise, he's a lot more slender than the original He-Man. Other than the broad shoulders, I mean, he's a lot more toned down as far as like he's more like he is more athletic, and that's kind of how they designed him more in that 2000 series. They all are kind of more athletic than they were originally in the build. But no, like I agree. The thing is though, what you're coming from, Andre, is they could do this. They could find somebody who is the proper body type because the original Filmation series was rotoscoped over bodybuilders.
Exactly, and that is models. Why. The Filmation bodies and movements are so fluid. They're like, and they look so good
proportionally.
Looked like the bodybuilders of the 80s, and the bodybuilders of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They were going for the look of Greek statues, human perfection, not bodybuilders of today who are just roided up mass monsters. But that's another discussion.
Yeah, you made a video all about that, actually.
Yeah.
About, I think when what's his face was Sentian and Nino, that guy.
No, it was after that. It was
Silicon Valley guy.
It was it was in conjunction with Revelation, with like the
the
women there. That the only way
one.
That women would get a build like Teela and Evil Lynn has here is with excessive use of steroids and male growth hormone, because a female body simply doesn't develop muscles that way. I mean, there are many women who are worried about lifting weights and putting on muscle because they don't want to put on muscle. They don't want to look like buff dudes, but that's not going to happen because the estrogen will naturally prevent that kind of a build in women. The only way that a woman will look like Tila is with some help from
unnatural help. Yes, let's say.
Yeah.
And then Snell World says, "Have y'all seen Reacher on Amazon Prime? It's a great show." Mad saw it. I tried to watch it, and then after about 20 minutes or an hour or so, I realized I was watching Jack Reach around instead.
What?
Okay, that's the last time I'm going to use that joke.
I
had to kill it one last time. No, I've heard good things about it though. So, Mad, you saw it?
Yeah, I'm like 5 episodes in. I've been so the girlfriend and I we burn through these series too quick because they'll hook you. So I always have to like, no, we're gonna watch another one tomorrow. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I have a few problems just like with terminology and parts of the his military background and flashbacks, whatever. But other than that, I think that Alan Richin does a fantastic job, which I was worried about because I love Blue Mountain State, and he played Thad Castle, one of the greatest fictional MLB middle linebackers like in the history of cinema, and he's, by the way, speaking of, look, he has put on a lot of muscle for this man since he was on BMS, but I think he's doing an excellent job with the character, and I'm excited to see how it ends.
The bigger revelation is D-Bud says here, Matt has a girlfriend.
Yeah, never denied it.
Yeah. And also my cat, he says, so you're saying since I had decent muscles once, I can lose this gut and gain them back?
Yes.
Now, I don't know your age or general health and consult with the doctor and all that jazz, but in principle, yes, totally, you can. That's what muscle memory is all about. You can very easily get back to, well, very easily, that's the truth with modifications, but you can without as much trouble as you'd expect. Get your muscle back to the point where it once was. Of course, getting beyond that, that's going to take some serious effort, but getting back to where it was is totally achievable. Losing gut and everything, that's also going to, depending on how much we're talking about, that's also going to require some effort, but it can be done. No matter your age, it can be done, barring other injuries.
Next time it's like, baby, no, I didn't lie to you. That was the truth with some modification.
Well, it's hard to tell the truth if you don't know what they're looking for, like how they want you to answer.
This is true. And I want to welcome Matt Vader. Thank you so much, who we had on last week. And also I want to thank Space Monk and Cardinal Sin for also being members, along with Rika Zorro. Thank you so much for being members, guys. We appreciate that. And we also have a couple more super chats here. And next in line, we have Big Daddy MRI, who says, if Hidalgo is really gone, it isn't because of Gina. It is J.J. Abrams pointing out his NDA violation to Chapek. I believe that JJ had a lot to do with Hidalgo ejection change of status. Great show today, Andre and Tom. I'm not saying that JJ maybe didn't help in this endeavor, but honestly, JJ's powerful enough that if he didn't like Hidalgo back then, he could have probably got rid of him then. But JJ doesn't really have any huge sway over Lucasfilm. I mean, I feel, again, I could be totally wrong, and you could be completely right, but Big Daddy MRI. But I still feel strongly that the solution we came up with earlier was that this was more or less just a reason they found to get rid of him. There was more than enough reasons to get rid of him at this point, if it's true. But again, I could totally see him, like Favreau, using that as a bargaining chip as well. Considering from a lot, and this is going off of a lot of stuff I've heard from behind the scenes, and I cannot say who has told me and all that kind of stuff. But again, as I said earlier, he is a name that constantly comes up and always came up, and is somebody who is always mentioned in not of the best of light. So I'm sure he is somebody that they were more than happy to get rid of at this point.
My sources say the same thing.
Well, like I said, I have talked to people who work at Lucasfilm, but I can't say much more than that because then, yeah. Anyway, Hyperguyber 2 says, so you'd look like Ram Man? Probably. I probably would, yeah. Solid as fuck. Snellworld throwing in another $5. Thank you so much. Says they should get the guy who played Reacher or Hawk from Titans for He-Man. Hawk. Trying to remember who played him in Titans.
It's Alan Ritchson from Blue Mountain State.
Okay.
The guy we were talking about for Jack. He's playing Jack Reacher.
Oh, is he? Okay. Yeah, maybe
he's yoked in Jack Reacher, man. Like for real.
It's not just being yoked though either. I mean, you have to have a specific kind of like, what's his demeanor like?
Well, so that's the thing though. I didn't think he could pull off this whole like very like stoic kind of feel that he has in Jack Reacher, but he's doing excellent because in Blue Mountain State he is he's up to 11 with his ridiculousness, but like yeah, he's doing an excellent job. You really should watch that show, and also Old Henry, which I assume you still haven't seen.
No, but it is on my list. Sebastian Simonson, I would have said yes 10 years ago, but since he's Thor, it's too similar. And I'm sure he's too big of an actor now. That's the other problem is now I would just see him as Chris Hemsworth. But if you had casted him prior to that, I would have been like, oh yeah,
he'd be perfect. I mean, now you need someone who is what Chris Hemsworth was 10 years ago. That's
exactly. And then Ram Bam 3, and he has a perfect charm and everything for the kid, right? Like, I mean, you're not wrong. Chris Hemsworth, in an alternate universe, we did get a He-Man instead of a Thor from Chris Hemsworth.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to live in that universe. But anyway, Ram Bam 3000 says, as every special forces soldier will tell you, it's not the size that counts, it's the power to the weight ratio.
Exactly. Here's like the thing, that someone with Kyle's build, like, don't underestimate someone like that. I mean, just consider like farmer strength or like natural strength. It's a real thing. Like someone who has experience living in the farmhand, or yes, a really skinny like athlete or gymnast, something like that. They're gonna beat the hell out of the biggest bodybuilder if it came to that.
Oh, for sure. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
but still,
like,
for something like He-Man, then you want someone who can look good for camera, who can look like a bodybuilder, because yeah, this Kyle dude, he can no doubt dance in circles around Dolph Lundgren. Well, maybe not, because Dolph Lundgren was really good at karate back in the day. But anyway, point aside though, here the He-Man should be someone that looks massive, not someone that can and if they also can take out anyone from like the strength speed, that would be brilliant. But,
I was gonna say, actually, Lundgren was pretty close body wise back in the day. He was a pretty big.
He was perfect. I mean, that's all I would want. I mean, I'd rather have someone of like Lundgren's like perfect physique, which isn't like too massive, than some roided up mass monster.
I mean, we really don't give him enough credit. Let's be real. We talk about Franklin Gel all the time from that movie, but the movie aside, the casting is actually fucking brilliant.
It's
like
really
across
good,
the board.
yeah.
Especially those two. Like, that's like,
you couldn't have found a better He-Man than Dolph Lundgren back in 1980. He was the best one.
He had the voice, the demeanor, and that's what I was talking about, man, too, is because he's not so much that's the thing, is He-Man's he's a very warm character. Like, you may not think that looking at it on the surface, but you watch the show, he's very friendly, he's very warm, he's full of puns and stuff like that. So again, depending on which version you go with, but when I think of He-Man, I still think of that friendly guy, right? He's not the kind of guy that he's going to scare the shit out of you if you're not doing anything wrong. You're going to run to him if you need help, right? Like, he's that inviting friend. So he needs that friendly, inviting demeanor. And even though Lundgren was well known as Drago, he brought his charm to the table when he played He-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, and he plays it perfectly.
Was difficult because English is not his first language, and I know, like, I think they gave him one chance to do the lines, and I don't know.
3 chances.
3?
Yeah.
Did they end up having to do ADR?
Well, of course, it was like it was one time on set, and then he had like 2 more tries in ADR, and he nailed it in his final try.
Oh, nice.
And if he hadn't done that, then they had like a backup to dub him ready to go.
Like what they did with Arnold and Hercules in New York.
To do it to their satisfaction in his final attempt.
I think the important thing is like you need show muscle, not like work muscle for this movie.
Absolutely, that's true. And then Brightest Day sent us this. I have the power.
That is nice.
I'm pretty sure I do. I got the hair, that's for sure. Look at that. That's some 80s hair. Haven't had hair like this since college. That is pretty bitchin' Brightest Day. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And we also have one more super chat, actually a super sticker from Darius Munchausen. I don't think it'd be a day or a morning show without a bit of popcorn from Darius Munchausen, so Andre and I could argue over whether or not it's getting butter put on it. But before we go, there's one last thing I got to get everybody's reaction for. They dropped this yesterday, I think it was. I don't know if you saw this, Andre, but we have a teaser poster for Alien.
I did see this.
And my response was, who wants to tell them?
Unfortunately, they already told us it's not based on Alien. It's based on Prometheus. It's based on this stupid idea from Ridley Scott. I mean, it's ridiculous to call it Alien. It should be like called synth life form, because that's what it really is in like contemporary Earth. Say all the problems from AVP all over again, mixed in with the worst of Prometheus.
You had the same exact reaction I did, sir.
Wow. Well,
why are we on modern Earth? Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was the answer. I just wish we weren't.
I guess we still have that Predator movie to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm more hopeful for that.
Really?
You know what's sad about that is there's actually something that could work with that. The problem is the timing of it. Like if you told me that this was the plot 10 years ago, okay.
Like, you're right. You're right. It probably does have a lot to do with.
I mean, there is some parallels you can draw there. I can see that. But the problem we're going to have now is it's going to be all about strong whammons. That's the problem.
Yeah. I love the built-in, like, well, he's only going to use the weapons that aren't, well, he's not going to use overpowering weapons because that would be unfair. So he's going to, I don't know if that means he's going to use a stick.
Bow and arrow.
Against, like, I don't know.
Knowing him, he'll faction like some kind of crossbow out of sticks and shit.
I don't know, man. Like, but
I'm not looking forward to that either at all.
No.
And we got one more from Snell World. Thank you so much. It says Chris Hemsworth couldn't be a man. He has skips legs. He skips legs day. God damn, I fucked that up.
Never miss leg day. Leg day is important.
I think he's actually, because isn't that one of the Thor jokes from one of the shorts they did? Those hilarious shorts. Isn't that what he's referring to?
I don't recall.
Do you remember the ones I'm talking about? Yeah, with his roommate.
Yeah. I've never seen that.
You've never seen those? They're hilarious.
So I haven't.
We'll have to introduce you to those. Yeah. They came out, what was it, right before Ragnarok, I think it was?
Yeah, it was around then.
Yeah, they actually uploaded all of them to Disney Plus.
Yeah, I'm sure Taika Waititi probably had something to do with them. They have his scent.
I think it was before him, but it does have that same kind of, he's definitely a lot funnier in these than he was in Thor Dark World, for sure.
Yeah, I love that whole bit. I'll have to, you have to check that out. Daryl, yes.
Yeah,
Daryl, his roommate. Oh, shit. I can't believe you didn't see those, Andre. They're fucking hilarious. I think that's a joke from there.
I didn't see them.
Yeah, if it's not, I'm sorry, but I swore that was a joke from there, like, because he says something about leg day in there.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, it's important. Yeah. Never miss leg day.
Exactly. Master Clockwork says maybe Kyle Allen can play Captain Planet. He's more body type for that, for sure. Yeah. Paint him blue. But then again, Don Cheadle's already Captain Planet. So.
Dang it!
Yeah, I don't want to like give Kyle Allen like any hard time or something. I'm sure that he's cast as Adam, and I'm sure he'll be fine as that. I mean, he's honestly the least of my worries.
You know, that's what's sad, Andre, is it'll be the first time we get Adam on screen in a movie. And it's going to be for almost the entire fucking movie. I think you're right.
Yeah, that's what
we're going to be so sick of Adam by the time we get He-Man that we're just going to be like, oh my God, Jesus. Thank God, finally He-Man's here. Because he's probably going to be a sniveling little soy boy, too. You watch.
Yeah, probably.
Like
I mean,
Luke
all
that,
how amazing the physique that he has and all the stuff he can do. We're not going to see Adam do any of that.
But I was going to go to the drive-in and get some milkshakes with my friends.
Yeah, I can hear it already. Oh my God.
You can get milkshake with your friends after you're done with your chores, Adam.
I got my mind blown by Rico Zuro. He said the Predator has body integrity identity disorder, where it amputates its arms to be equal with the protagonist.
Oh my God, I hope that's not real.
I don't know.
That is some next level shit.
Wow.
Jason says, don't do that again. All right, I'll try not to. But that was all I had for us today. And I don't think I saw anywhere where anybody missed any super chats. Let me double check the mod chat just in case. No, I think we're clear.
Did we get all the member chats and everything?
I believe so. Yeah, we didn't really. I think we had just the membership thing. No member chats that I see here. So I think we're good.
Who's this joke?
Okay.
All right.
Well,
so
perfect.
With that, I think we were able to keep it pretty slim today, just like Kyle Allen.
Yeah. Nothing's better than that. Well,
please hit that like button and check out all our friends. And yeah, go ahead, Andre.
Yeah, and thanks for joining us. And be sure to check back later tonight for the ladies of Toxic Femininity.
Yes, hopefully I'll be here if I feel up to it. And now, time for Koalas in the Rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koala, koala, koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given.